inside Yemen, a belief compounded by the release of one American over the weekend. Despite this, U.S. officials made no mention of that being a topic of discussion. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month or any amount of Bitcoin per month, thanks to the recurring payment options provided by Coinbase. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports an internal investigation by the Department of Homeland Security revealed on Monday that undercover agents managed to get weapons through airport security in 67 out of 70 tests. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson said in a statement, "The numbers in these reports never look good out of context, but they are a critical element in the continual evolution of our aviation security. We take these findings very seriously in our continued effort to test, measure, and enhance our capabilities and techniques as threats evolve." The findings prompted Johnson to reassign Melvin Caraway, the acting head of the Transportation Security Agency, to another post within the DHS. The Homeland Security tests were conducted by so-called red teams, where agents who pose as passengers try to get fake explosives and other weapons through TSA screening. The report described one incident in which a red team agent set off an alarm, though the TSA employee conducting the subsequent pat-down missed the fake bomb taped to the agent's back. Johnson said airport screening is just one layer of security, but he called for TSA to re-evaluate its screening equipment, revise its standard operating procedures, brief security directors at all U.S. airports, and train TSA screeners based on information in the report. For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. Antiwar.com reports in a 67-32 vote yesterday, the U.S. Senate passed the USA Freedom Act, a watered-down reform bill that will renew Section 215 of the USA Patriot Act, which expired over the weekend. The bill was passed without amendment and will go straight to President Obama for his signature. The White House praised the passage after expressing annoyance over the weekend with Senator Rand Paul's filibuster, which was ultimately blocked yesterday with only 14 senators voting to allow it to continue. The USA Freedom Act has long been criticized for being such a narrow reform bill, offering little in assurance that bulk surveillance will actually stop, and simply changing the process by which the data is being stored, putting it in the hand of the phone companies instead of the NSA. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was complaining about the bill, saying it took too much surveillance power away from the government, and despite the bill's relatively weak nature, the ACLU and others were trumpeting it as at least something of a victory. The passage and signing will end a little under 48 hours of life without Section 215 of the USA Patriot Act on the books. Administration officials say the NSA program and metadata collection will be back up and running within a day of the president signing it back into law. Officials made no mention of any changes in the operation of the program despite the nominal reforms. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
I just got off the phone with New York. We are the #1 network in the world. And it is an honor to stand before you at such an exciting time. We're stretching boundaries that will irreparably alter people's perception of what they are willing to watch. And our next season will offer tantalizing programming that plays seamlessly into the desire of our viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you just a taste of what ODS has to offer.
You know the rules. Grow a pumpkin or go home. Here's the twist. Only one of you has the real pumpkin seeds.
Are you a pumpkin or not?
You call yourselves pumpkin growers?
I know I didn't get the pumpkin seeds. I dug in there. They're bean sprouts.
Starting a pumpkin alliance. Anyone grows a pumpkin, we split the money.
Get out of my patch.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us here on the radio waves, toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us online at freetalklive.com. Enjoy the features that we have waiting for you. They are totally free. Once again, freetalklive.com. And we've got Skype. You can Skype into the show here tonight. Our username on Skype is lrn.fm. You do need to send a contact request first if you haven't yet done that. And then once we see that come in, we'll approve it, and you'll be easily able to call us on Skype from that point forward. So again, username on Skype is lrn.fm. And joining you in studio tonight, you have me, Ian.
Ridley.
And Mark.
Dave Ridley here once again from RidleyReport.com. And as usual, we all have things that we bring in to discuss. Of course, you're welcome to join us and talk about anything you want. On the way here tonight, how the USA Freedom Act, as they are calling it, is actually reducing freedom in America, which anybody who's paid attention to the federal government knows that when they call something the Freedom Act, you better prepare yourself because you're about to get less free. But Virgil Viduva has done the breakdown over at truthvoice.com. Mark, I think we mentioned last night the story about the rock stacking, but I don't know if we ever got to it, and I know you brought that in. So,
yeah, I do.
Rock stacking was, I guess, being targeted by police in Boulder, Colorado.
Right. Now
rock stacking as in building a stack of rocks in nature somewhere, right?
Right. If you haven't seen pictures of these rocks stacked on top of each other, you likely haven't been on Facebook in the last year.
Okay.
There's this artist.
It's been going on for a while.
Yeah, Michael Grab, who has been, does some amazing things and stacks rocks on top of each other in ways that are precarious. They look for all the world like mobiles that you used to make sort of in grade school, or wind chimes. I mean, the way that they look, they're just amazing to look at. They're like upside down wind chimes in many ways. And what he does is just fantastic. And there's a story out last week where apparently he got harassed in some way, shape, or form. Now, as there's all kinds of retractions out there where I guess the Boulder police are like, whoa, you didn't mean to mess with the internet phenom known as Michael Grab and look like a bunch of knuckle draggers. But yeah, that was not what we meant.
So it's actual cops who are going after him, not like forest rangers or something. Where is he doing this?
Let's read it here. Going on, Michael Grab, a Boulder artist who goes by the name Gravity
Glue.
Glue.
By the way, I'm sorry.
Raw story.
Okay, thank you.
Said the police threatened to ticket or jail him for creating stacked river rock sculptures that the community has been enjoying for years. In a Monday Facebook post, Grab explained that a Boulder police officer had informed him that there would be stiff penalties for continuing his art. For the past 7 years, I've been creating this art in and around Boulder, Colorado, USA nearly every day, he wrote. Just this weekend, one police officer has decided...
How do you get paid for that?
I don't know. He probably gets a lot of views, on some videos or another.
Does he put his URL on the rocks?
I think that, no, I think that he probably just gets a lot of views on some videos, and probably the best he gets paid for it is the commercials that run before them on YouTube.
I am mostly unfamiliar with this. I mean, I saw the headlines, but I haven't looked at his artwork. So he actually makes videos of him stacking the rocks?
Yeah.
Is it like sped up or something like that, or is it, real time? Because it sounds like it's not the really most interesting
both of those
footage. Okay.
So the video I have seen is just sort of takes excerpts of him balancing rocks and these sorts of things, getting them to stand, and it's amazing stuff to see. And he's clearly an amazing
like
artist.
A master of balance or something like that.
Yeah, merely it's amazing to see. So he goes on, just this weekend, one police officer has decided that balancing rocks in Boulder, Colorado is now illegal, obscurely referencing two city codes, 548 and 542, about destruction of public property in relation to rocks. Now the police have belligerently taken it upon themselves to write tickets and or arrest anyone balancing rocks in Boulder, Colorado, and specifically threatened to ticket me and or arrest me if they catch me in the future, the artist lamented. I encourage as many people as possible, especially locals, to contact the city council here in Boulder and voice your support for this long-standing tradition in Boulder. It's something that is an overwhelming portion of the community supports.
So I'm watching, by the way, now. I just went and looked rock balancing on YouTube, and I've got pulled up a 2-minute video, which is just still photos of his artwork, and it's pretty impressive.
It's impressive as it can possibly be. The man is an artist.
Yeah, and in Colorado culture, the idea of a cairn is considered a good Samaritan act. It's a community thing. You mark spots on a trail by stacking rocks on top of one another. You mark where the trail is, and it helps people get from point A to point B. And this is
without getting lost.
This is not that different from that. It's just prettier.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's stacking rocks, but his rock stacking is so much more impressive than everybody else's.
Okay.
Rooster magazine wondered why Boulder police felt the need to focus on draconian rock art witch hunt instead of higher than average rates of rape and theft. Why is any of this important? Because if we ban every bizarro Boulder character that creates a stir, see nude gardening woman, where we're left with nothing more than a college town with a target that's about to become Google's new headquarters, the magazine noted. At a time like this, we need less kid gloves in the form of overzealous legislation and more attention paid to retaining the city's core personality. If you don't like
that means.
Effing move to Westminster. And I'm not sure where Westminster is.
And who is it saying that?
This is the Rooster magazine. I'm not sure what Rooster magazine
sounds
is.
like an independent local.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Keep Boulder weird and keep Gravity Glue making weird-ass rock art.
And apparently they've backed down, right? The bureaucrats in this case?
Yeah. This article doesn't go into it. It's an older article, but I wanted to get a feel for what was going on at the time. And this, to me, it shows sort of one of the victories that we can have, probably not in a democracy, because this isn't about democracy as much as this is about media. This is about getting the word out. A guy who has a good public relations image because he makes rock art sculptures that are amazing to look at.
Yep.
And parlaying that good public relations into getting people on your side. So if this man made dead chicken art, he probably wouldn't be nearly as popular, but he's making rock art, and he wouldn't have nearly as many people coming out to support him or whatever. So these politicians realized that they had, for whatever reason, they'd stepped in it, whether they stepped themselves or their police department did.
Now, this was the police department that was making the threats. Was it the police who withdrew the threats, or was it somehow the politicians who inserted themselves? Here's what I want to know.
According to the Denver Post, I just lost it. It says, quote, getting it back again, quote, Boulder police on Friday acknowledged that an officer mistakenly issued a warning last weekend to a local artist who stacks rocks in Boulder, unquote. I'm looking for the rest of the article now.
Okay. Whoops. Well, our officer screwed it up. We're sorry. We won't do it again. And you're right. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all the press coverage. Otherwise, that ticket would go forward, and he would have to challenge it. He'd have to go with not guilty. He'd have to go to trial. Probably would lose, because pretty much everybody loses when they go to trial like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fairly big deal to see any government in the United States doing this, backtracking, no matter how bad the publicity is. It's a step forward.
It must have been overwhelming, though.
Yeah, it wouldn't really even. Okay, so I think that they would probably see this. Anybody could see this coming, right? Like, this guy's an internet phenom, and then we're going after him for the thing that he's popular on the internet for, and it's not hurting anybody. Now, there are all kinds of cases that we see of people who aren't hurting anybody that are doing some kind of, this thing or that thing, where the city comes down on them. For instance, the gardeners in Orlando. Right,
people who had a garden in their front yard.
The front yard gardeners. Now, they couldn't get quite the support because they're not enriching as many people's lives. I mean, their garden isn't. It isn't on Facebook making people happy just to look at it for a few minutes.
I was happy to see their garden.
I am too. I'm sort of showing their garden is much more ordinary.
Yeah.
Than this man's ability to stack rocks, or skill, I should say. So they didn't get the support, and the city, isn't going to back off as quickly. So, if you can juxtapose these, and in this case, the city ran away because there was nothing to gain with messing with this guy.
All right, more on the way here in moments. 855, 450 free. Media is really important to keeping us free, and I think we can expound on that here.
You still believe the law is the law? I mean, because that's what I want to know here.
855, 450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
Attention business owners. Do you know the 3 most critical letters in business?
CEO?
MBA?
Nope. Here's a hint. These 3 little letters can make the difference between making a fortune and losing everything.
ROI?
The answer is INC, as in incorporation. Because if you're not incorporated and someone sues your business, you can lose it all. Your home, your car, even your life savings. That's why Incorporate.com is now giving away a free incorporation guide to all business owners, so you can incorporate in just 10 minutes. Protect your home. Protect your car. Protect your life savings. Call 1-800-941-1029 for your free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. Get the 3 little letters that can mean the difference between making a fortune and losing everything. For your free guide, call 1-800-941-1029. That's 1-800-941-1029.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State, or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you're welcome to join us here and share your thoughts at 855-450-FREE. Rock stacking. Should it be illegal? Should there be a rock stacking crackdown? I mean, who out there could possibly agree with that? Apparently not very many people. Because even the police backed down on this particular incident of a man, Michael Grab, who has been doing rock stacking for quite a long time, apparently, in the Boulder, Colorado area. With you in studio tonight, you've got me, Ian.
Ridley.
And Mark.
And Dave Ridley, you've been to Boulder, Colorado a few times. Is that right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. And this seems very typical for Boulder. They kind of have artsy things going on, like rock stacking?
Yeah, and I've never thought of the Boulder police as being particularly bad. I remember listening to a lot of the local coverage of the Jean-Benet Ramsey case back in '96, because I'm basically from Colorado Springs, and the way the police handled all that, they were getting a lot of reporters. How come you haven't arrested the whole town yet? And they're like, well, hey, hang on, everybody, let's calm down. The police were calming the people down as opposed to the other way around, and the chief seemed very laid back. Didn't have the kind of demeanor you would expect a chief to normally have. Different kind of police department. That was the impression I got back in those days, but who knows what's changed.
There's always bad cops, right? And this guy apparently was threatened by one of the police officers there in Boulder over stacking rocks, some sort of public defacement charge. Is that what it was? I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I think it was destruction of public property or something like that, having to do with rocks.
They should go after the beavers while they're at it, too, because, they're moving sticks around. And I did see some pictures of Michael Grab's work. I was watching a video with a bunch of still photos, and it appears that he also stacks sticks. So there was like one picture of what looked like a kind of a doorway in the middle of the woods that was made all of just sticks that had been laid down and stacked upon one another. It was very impressive.
Well, there was actually a case in 2006, roughly, in New Hampshire, where the feds took a guy to court for, he was moving some pottery around in a national forest and taking pictures of it. I mean, some of it may have already been out there, like it may have been old ancient pottery, or Indian, or whatever. But he got taken to court, for just basically doing the same kind of thing this guy was doing with rocks.
Do you know how that panned out?
Case? Judge Muirhead actually threw it out. I think he acquitted him or something like that. He didn't have the charges didn't stick in court. But I guess the Forest Service people took him to court.
Doesn't cost them anything to take you to court. Let's go to Ralph. He's listening in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ralph.
Hey, you brought up an interesting subject today, but it goes right along with what you were talking about yesterday about property.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, the thing is, you have people out in the country, farmers, that have been farming their property for several generations. And then, eventually some of us die off and so forth, and the property gets sold, or some of us reduce down our property and sell it. But here's the thing. You got people that are moving from the inner cities or the cities or the heavily lived suburbs out into these lands, okay? And they're coming out here. They're wanting to cut everything down, and they're wanting to turn what they're living in now into what they left. The reason they move out here, though, is because they like the freedom and the spaciousness, but then they want to turn it into what they had there. And, the thing, you're talking about the pottery, the rocks and stuff like that. We farmers, we'll leave our equipment, out in the field. That way, when we go back out there, we can hop in it and start working again, where we left off. Well, now, I only got 10 acres left. But the point is I got a lot of things I'm doing, and sometimes I'll be plowing or whatever, brush hogging, and I don't get done, or it rains and that. I'll leave my equipment out there, and the next day I'll go out there. I got this yuppie that moves in the 5 acres next to us because he wanted to live in the country, the fresh air, and have good food. But you know what? It's like, hey, why are you running your tractor so early in the morning? Why do you run your tractor till late at night?
I'm working.
Yes, so you can eat, yuppie.
Well, here's the thing. He builds his house and his deck and all this right next to my fields where I work.
Yeah. What did he expect?
And plus, I've got a burn area there that's been there. That burn area we've got there. We burn the branches that fall out of the trees and stuff like that because we don't have a place where you can bundle them for the garbage men to take away.
Sure.
Okay, we burn them and then we take the ashes and spread them in the garden or in the fields. Okay, it's a natural form of lime and ash.
And he built his house near your burn area?
Oh yeah, so I try to reduce my burn piles, and I try and burn them on a day the wind ain't blowing his way, and
Wow, sounds like you're bending over backwards for this guy.
Well, you can't determine what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But the point is everything you do, he's not happy with. Everything you do, he is not happy with.
I say give up.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you got this guy that's been I lived in Colorado for a while.
Is he retired?
Pardon?
Is he retired?
The yuppie? No.
No? So does he go to work?
He's got a wife that lives there, that stays home 24 hours a day, that walks around and is afraid to get a bug on her,
Yeah.
and all she does is walk around and bitch all day, excuse my language, but that's all she does. But the point is I lived in Colorado, we used to go, you could pee off the mountain if you wanted to. Now I hear, I had a friend that was in the military also, that she went back, and she said, like in the Garden of the Gods and stuff like that, you can't ride horses in there anymore. You can't do anything in there anymore because it might hurt the land. This is such crap. What is wrong with stacking some rocks, okay? I mean, now if he stacked them too high where some little kid might come up and mess with them, they fall down
That
on
could
them,
happen. I mean, look, there was that certainly could happen. The one with the big old hot air balloon look to it was very, very top heavy, and I imagine it could be possible for some kid to get under there and tip the gravity, tip the balance, and possibly get hurt. But that's not his problem. And Ralph, thanks for your call tonight. I do appreciate hearing from you. Good story. Sorry to hear you have to deal with tough, difficult neighbors like that.
We had it out that way in my town. There was a situation where some retirees had moved in, and the rich section that's along the river, and they. The one lady was all bent out of shape about this, the expansion of this gravel mine. Now, New Hampshire has 2 exports. Really, that's it. I mean, people can come in and take a look at pretty leaves a couple of weeks out of the year. You can come in, you can ski down, our short little mountains here that, from the east side of the United States, we got pretty good mountains. When you start comparing to the west side, they're not much. But we've got some skiing. But as far as exports go, we've got granite and maple syrup. So, rocks and tree sap. That's what we got. And, yeah, there are people that want to dig in the ground and find the little rocks so they can make people's driveways better with them. A gravel driveway is a great thing to have here. They were actually citing OSHA reports on silica and, the dangers of not wearing a mask when you're on a work site, and suggesting that, they live 3/4 of a mile from this. They're not in a butter. They're 3/4 of a mile from this proposed site for expansion of the gravel mine, and they're talking about how sand in the air might affect them.
Wow, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, right? Like, it's not coming to bother you, I swear to God. But all the time and the energy that was put into it, and they tried to use the zoning laws, which of course the people in the town voted into place in the first place. It's their fault for putting these zoning laws in place, because if there weren't any zoning laws, these people wouldn't have had a leg to stand on in the first place.
You gotta get rid of that crap. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number here, and you can join us. This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Did you know some countries are now banning GMO foods? It's true. That's why for quality storable foods, you need ready-made resources. For over 19 years, we've become the name you can trust for thousands of products, like Numana Healthy Food Storage. All Numana storable foods are non-GMO, non-soy, and gluten-free available. Call 800-627-3809 or click ReadyMadeResources.com. Ready Made Resources. We don't just sell the products, we live it.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Join us on the airwaves here at 855 450 free. With you in the studio this evening, you've got me, Ian.
Ridley.
And Mark.
And you may join us online at freetalklive.com, where you can contribute Bitcoin to the Bitcoin tip jar at bitcoin.freetalklive.com. What's that? You don't have Bitcoin yet? Well, let me help you with that. You can go to expresscoin.com and you can get Bitcoin with money order or check. It's very easy. In fact, it's also fast and safe and inexpensive. They're a licensed money services business, and they can provide you with Bitcoin, Litecoin, as well as Dogecoin. Just start off at expresscoin.com, whether you're in the U.S. or Canada. You can use expresscoin.com. Plus, they have a smartphone app that you can grab at expresscoin.com, and you can also use coupon code FTL. That will save you on up to $40 worth of cryptocurrency. You can get up to $40 worth for no transfer fee whatsoever. Now, normally their fee is very, very low there at expresscoin.com. In fact, I would say it's probably one of the best, if not the best, in the business. Go and check it out for yourself, expresscoin.com. I've used it, and it's great. Coupon code FTL at expresscoin.com. As we go to your calls and thoughts here, Tom's in Nashua, New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live, Tom.
It's about the Boston Marathon bombing. There was a lot of talk about the trial and this and that, but one thing I haven't heard a lot of libertarians speak about, especially the constitutional libertarians, is how is it really any federal government business as opposed to a Massachusetts court enforcing Massachusetts laws against killing 3 people and wounding hundreds of others?
It's a good question. I hadn't really even considered that myself.
They throw the word terrorism out, and all of a sudden it's the federal government's business, apparently.
Yeah, but the word terrorism is not in the Constitution. Where does the Constitution authorize this particular activity?
Well, where does it authorize the war on drugs? They've been doing all kinds of unauthorized things forever. So as far as they're concerned, they can do anything they want to until someone like Edward Snowden reveals too much, and then they get embarrassed into having to, at the very least, pretend like they're not doing those things anymore.
And Massachusetts does not have the death penalty, so it is certainly one thing. I'm sure the the defense lawyers are going to bring that up on the appeal. But another issue is they could get them for treason, except you have to have two eyewitnesses to the same overt act or confession in open court. And I believe he has confessed in open court. But then the constitutional technicality that they would have to bring up is they can't execute him by lethal injection, because the Constitution says that it doesn't mean this literally, but it says no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood. And they don't mean lethal injection when they say that, but that's what it says, and that's what they would be doing by corrupting his blood by putting sodium pentothal in it.
Well, no, they'll just do whatever to him they feel like.
How often does the federal government actually put people to death?
The last one I know of is Dahmer.
Really?
Dahmer?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, wasn't he killed in prison?
Timothy McVeigh. Excuse me.
Okay.
They look relatively similar.
Jeffrey Dahmer got out on bail. It cost him an arm and a leg.
Thanks for the call, Tom. Appreciate it. 855-450 free, and I'm pretty sure Jeffrey Dahmer was killed.
He's been holding on to that Dahmer joke for a long time.
Yeah. Pretty sure Dahmer was killed in prison, right?
Yes.
By another
Yeah,
prisoner.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Let's continue here. Jeff is in Wilmington. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, I love that last caller. I always like when he calls in. I had a comment about yesterday's show. There was a lady that called in yesterday. The topic was about police violence, and you were basically asking the caller why American police, why there's so much violence. You were bringing up other countries, and because I had a comment about that, but I just wanted to.
Yeah, this was the lady who was the wife of a cop and the daughter of a cop. That lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get. You guys are probably going to call me a bigot, and I'll probably get hate for this, but basically, you understand the concept of a bell curve when you're looking at averages and numbers and stuff, right?
Yep.
You have people at the bottom, you have like an average, and then you have people at the top.
Right.
Well,
when you say people at the bottom and the top, what you mean is that you have people outliers, and then with a bell curve, you have most of the people tend to be like the mean, the center, and then they, depending on how squashed the bell curve is, the outliers are either closer or farther from the middle.
Exactly, but our crime problem, and I guess this could go to other countries, but basically the reason why there's more police, more violent crime, and more police use of force is just because of our population of black people. And
what is that supposed to mean?
There's you can't deny that they make up a high percentage of the prison population, and there is a thug culture. But if you take a map, and the map's available online, I believe, the FBI statistics, and you look at violent crimes and homicides, and you put that map on top of a map of the major. You put that over a demographic map for race and ethnicity and whatever. The major crime areas will overlap with the majority black areas if you put the two maps on top of each other. But
so let me ask you this: so Canada's got a black population, right? Like it's about 4% of their population. Ours is a 12 to 16, somewhere in there. Certainly, the U.S.'s black population is higher than it is in Canada. The U.K., they've got a black population. Now, you can't show the same level of criminality, and by criminality I mean people who are convicted, not necessarily what their disposition is. You can't show correlations necessarily between these communities. What is wrong with Canadian black people that they don't commit as much crime as American black people?
We have a unique you have to admit that Black Americans are different than Americans in other countries. There's a different history. They feel a different way. Even Blacks from other countries. I actually talk with a lot of African immigrants, people from and actually immigrants from the Caribbean too. People from Haiti, people from Ghana, people from Liberia, and they do admit that they're profiled more, etc. But the unique breed of American Black, and you could argue that it started, in the 80s, when the crack went into their neighborhoods and the welfare went up, and the single motherhood their community was
convictions of
destroyed,
blacks didn't start in the 80s. I mean, certainly the explosion of incarceration in the United States did, but the disparity between black and white incarceration has been going on for many decades.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that just because black people get arrested for crimes doesn't mean that they're committing them more often. It could just simply be that the cops are targeting them more often. Maybe there's racist cops out there.
Yeah, when I used to work in Texas, especially in East Texas, it seemed like whenever I worked in a TV station, we'd go along on drug busts sometimes, and they would just go to the nearest black folks and just arrest a bunch of them. And I don't remember any white arrests at any of these drug busts that I tagged along for.
Well, a lot of black people are also, sort of oppressed by the man to some extent, in that they are prohibited from creating wealth for themselves. So many of them have been stuck in a place of poverty for generations because they, are prohibited by the law from creating their own businesses and, starting to make wealth. And so if you're in poverty, you're more likely to commit crimes as well. I mean, so some of it could simply be the circumstance that they find themselves in. And I find it offensive when people say things like American. I find it offensive when people say things like the American black. That's as ridiculous as saying the American white. There are so many different kinds of people who have different views and different opinions within the black population.
Sure.
Please.
Well, he didn't use the term black population. He said black community.
He said the American black earlier, as though they're all the same and they think the same way.
There is difference. There is biological differences in the race. They're more likely to get sickle cell. They're more likely to suffer from diabetes. There's unique biological. They have vulnerabilities.
I don't care. Thanks for the call, Jeff. 855-450 free. They're human beings and they're individuals, and judge them that way, please.
Quantum Vibe. It's year 2523. There are colonies on Venus, Mars, and Mercury. People travel in bubbles, fly at hyperspeed, with brain implants and artificial gravity. A scientific genius and his clever assistant set out on an adventure through the solar system on a secret mission to find the key to access new frontiers and save liberty. QuantumVibe.com from Big Head Press.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. And while many don't know it, there's one path to success that still only requires a dream and about $10. That's right. If your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. And today at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 full-color business cards for only $9.99. That's right, only $9.99. Just go to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code 4545 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 4545.
There are hundreds of silver products on the market today, but there's nothing like the astonishing health benefits of the multi-patented One Silver Solution. Boost your immune system at a great price with our Silver Solution Liquid, starting at $12.95 a bottle. Now available in regular and extra strength. That's half the price of the leading competitors. Call 844-USILVER for your free catalog, or go to OneSilverSolution.com. OneSilverSolution.com. There is only one Silver Solution.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Free Talk Live.
Some people actually need laws to know what the hell they're doing.
I don't think that's true. No, I have to disagree with you. There's only one law that people need to know, and that is do no harm. as long as you aren't hurting other people or stealing their stuff or damaging their property, then you are being law-abiding, because that's the one great natural law as far as I'm concerned. That's what, in fact, when they say, well, you know how they love to say this in court, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, that phrase came about when that was the law, when that was pretty much the only concept you had to get, was that you don't hurt other people. Get it? Ignorance of that law, there's no excuse to ignore that law. That makes sense. But to say that ignorance of all these tomes and tomes and tomes of legislation that we have out there, that there's no excuse for that, of course there's an excuse.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype. You can Skype in here at username LRN.FM. If you get online, you need to protect yourself. Your internet service provider is likely violating what you thought was your privacy by logging all of the websites that you visit, probably the search terms you're entering, keeping those logs for several years in some cases, and then doing who knows what with them, maybe giving them to the police or selling them to advertising companies. If you would like to prevent your ISP from knowing what you're doing online, as well as preventing criminals from sniffing your Wi-Fi packets to try to snatch your bank account login info or credit card information, then you can use ProXPN. Just go to proxpn.com/FTL. You can get signed up there, download their app for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, Linux. Get started for free and try out ProXPN. It's a global virtual private network. You're going to want to upgrade likely to their premium account, however, where you'll get unlimited bandwidth, servers around the world that you can access. You can privately torrent and get past regionally blocked websites. Plus, ProXPN does not keep records of your online habits, and you get it all with a risk-free 7-day money-back guarantee. What's the cost? Well, you get it 50% off the regular monthly price when you buy an annual account with our discount code FTL50. That breaks it down to just under $5 a month. That's proxpn.com/FTL, code FTL50 for a great discount on privacy that is priceless. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We've got Ron listening in Durham, North Carolina, to Talk Radio 850. Hey, Ron.
Hey, you guys. Yeah, man, I've had some good luck getting through to you guys. I've called you a couple times recently. Anyways, I just
It's super easy to get on the air on this show. I just want to let listeners know, if you're listening to this show thinking to yourself, my God, they're a national show, I'll never get through. Well, you just need to try, and you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ron, go ahead. You can. By the way, here's the secret. One of this
call.
You're not supposed to talk about this stuff on talk radio. We're going to violate one of the rules of talk radio here. But generally, when you hear Free Talk Live not talking to a caller, like we're just talking among the hosts, that usually means we don't have any callers. So
we do call it Free Talk Live for a reason, because it's pretty easy to get on the air.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason the other shows don't do that is they want to appear bigger than they are. Yeah. And some of them certainly have wall-to-wall calls. I'm sure Rush Limbaugh could talk to everybody who calls him for 1 minute and still not be able to get through all of his callers. He's on prime time. He's on 600 radio stations across the country.
Major flamethrower stations.
He's the biggest deal in talk radio right now. But, you know, not Free Talk Live.
Go ahead, Ron.
I don't want to take up a lot of my airtime here talking about, your demographics or your numbers, but I'm just curious, how many radio stations do you have, and at any given time, how many people are listening, do you think?
Excellent question. We have over 150 radio stations.
156 today, I just looked.
They air us at various different times throughout the week. So, this hour there will be stations that are on that may not necessarily be carrying, let's say, the weekend shows or whatever. So I don't have a breakdown of which stations are on at which times, but if you want to see that, you can go to our affiliates list at affiliates.freetalklive.com. And I'd also like to comment here that there is no set amount of time that each caller gets. So us talking about these things doesn't dig into your time necessarily, Ron. If a caller's entertaining, you stay on. If you're not, you don't last that long.
Yeah, another trick is don't repeat yourself.
Yeah.
Because Ian will get you. If he hears like you say the same thing twice, it's bang.
Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, all right. Then, I just wanted to follow up on that last guy. It sounds as though, when a person quotes statistics or certain things, if those statistics are, disparaging to a particular race or a particular minority group, automatically, you're labeled a racist and whatnot. To me, from what that guy was saying, and I've looked these numbers up myself, the states, I'm not talking about cities or urban centers or whatnot, but the states that have the lowest percentage of minorities, for some strange reason, your state is one of them, also has the lowest number percentage-wise of violent crime. Now, there can be a lot of reasons that happens, but that's a fact. That's not a racist statement. That's just a fact. If you don't want to get shot, don't live in Durham, North Carolina. Move to New Hampshire. You got a whole lot better chance that you're not going to get shot for whatever reason. Also, I think a lot of the problems when it comes to violent crimes with certain minority groups is years of liberal policies that have basically encouraged people not to be married. If you don't have a positive male role model as a young man growing up, the chances of you, say, dropping out of high school, the chances of you getting into gangs, the chances of you getting into trouble, getting in prison are, a whole lot higher. I don't know the exact numbers, but when you're a single parent trying to raise a son, a single mother trying to raise a son, especially like in an urban environment, the cards are stacked against you. And even when it comes to, say, like public housing, the way the government has things set up, making people dependent on the government, you're not going to have no pride in ownership of anything. There's a lot of things that go into it, but just I don't think that it's right to label somebody as a racist and, come up with these canned statements about judging people individually. Sure, that's great. I'm a libertarian and I feel that way, but at the same time, the statistics speak for themselves as far as I'm concerned.
But that's meaningless. If we're talking about individuals, then it doesn't matter what the statistics show because the individuals may not or may not line up with those statistics. And it's not fair to group everybody into this category who's, one color that has a certain color of skin. It's just not fair to those people who are good people.
They're also, though, I think it's good to have an open and uncensored debate about these kinds of things. And so much of America practically will try to get you fired if you say the kinds of things that the last two callers are saying. It's more important to have the openness of the discussion than anything else. That's primary. Secondary would be who's right.
I agree with you completely when it comes to open dialogue. And unless, people of mixed races can sit down and have an open dialogue and not have to worry about, letting some words slip out and, having to walk on eggshells to be politically correct, there's never going to be true equality because you're always going to have that power or that influence of, worrying about having that word come out. And, there's never going to be true equality. But I'll go back to what I said before. How is it? Explain to me, statistically proven that states with a lower percentage of minority have less crime. That's not disputable, man.
Well, in the U.S., it may partly have something to do with temperature because I think black folks tend to be more concentrated in the South, and there's going to be more crime where there are higher temperatures.
It's not too warm up in Detroit.
That's true. I don't have an answer for you there.
Well, thanks for the call, Ron. Appreciate it.
I would say that a history of disenfranchisement has probably wrought whatever it has wrought on this terminology we're going to call the black community. I don't want to separate people by race any more than you do, Ian. The difficulty is that it seems like everybody else in the world, black, white, yellow, or whatever, does. Right. So it's difficult to have a conversation about crime and about race without clumping people together.
Let's look at middle class black neighborhoods compared to.
Are there middle class black neighborhoods? Because most of the places I've lived, the middle class blacks essentially have integrated into. They're just mixed neighborhoods because they live there.
Are middle-class black neighborhoods or middle-class blacks more likely to commit crimes than middle-class whites?
I doubt it. I think we're talking it's mostly a class issue. But
right. So I think that's the point I'm making here, right? Like some people will present this as blacks, they're so violent.
Let's not talk about the classes, though it's a group of people, Ian. For God's sakes, each one of these people in the class is an individual.
I totally agree with what you're saying there. I'm just breaking down the larger group, into smaller groups so we can see if what's being said about the larger group is actually true. I don't believe that it is.
I think that a lot of the crime in this country goes to conversations that people have about the inability of moving from one class to another. Also policies that governments, Republican and Democrat, governmental agencies and politicians have wrought down that do make it more difficult than perhaps it used to be to move from one class to another. But as an individual, if you choose for yourself, I'm going to move up in class structure, there's some things you can do to make that happen. Education's a great place to start. Who you hang around with, how you talk and how you dress. All these things are going to have, strong effect on where you're going in your life. Now, I don't think that a police officer should necessarily target somebody with a car that's painted bright green, metallic green with giant tires on it, and somebody who has their pants hanging around their knees. I don't think they should necessarily target them as a drug dealer or something like that. But I can tell you they're going to, and they're probably, I don't know, just guessing here, maybe there's a higher statistic chance that if you fit the profile that you are what they suggest.
If there's a problem in society, it's almost always linked to a prohibition.
All right, more coming up here in moments. 8:55, 450 free.
You can't talk about crime without talking about the drug war.
For your soulmate, someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
New Hampshire is under quarantine as walking corpses devour the flesh of the living. Max is 11 years old and surviving alone. Slow-moving and non-thinking, the dead swarm his home. Now he must apply his Porcupine Freedom Scouts training to improvise his escape. Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, or read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2015. Silver is trading at $16.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,191 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $227. Antiwar.com reports U.S. officials are confirming last week's report of direct talks with Yemen's Shiite Houthi faction, saying the meetings in Oman were aimed at persuading the Houthis to participate in the Geneva Peace Conference. The U.S. has shown a surprising amount of interest in convincing the Houthis about the talks, courting Iranian help in recent meetings and also holding direct talks with the Houthis, but there is no indication that Saudi Arabia, whose war against Yemen the U.S. is backing, will participate anyhow. Nor will the Riyadh-based government in exile, which has ruled out any participation in any talks with the Houthis unless the Shiites first agree to surrender several cities to them as a show of faith. The Houthis have always suggested that they were open to talks if the airstrikes ended. There has been speculation that the State Department was courting the Houthis about a handful of U.S. citizens held inside Yemen, a belief compounded by the release of one American over the weekend. Despite this, U.S. officials made no mention of that being a topic of discussion. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month or any amount of Bitcoin per month, thanks to the recurring payment options provided by Coinbase. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports an internal investigation by the Department of Homeland Security revealed on Monday that undercover agents managed to get weapons through airport security in 67 out of 70 tests. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson said in a statement, "The numbers in these reports never look good out of context, but they are a critical element in the continual evolution of our aviation security. We take these findings very seriously in our continued effort to test, measure, and enhance our capabilities and techniques as threats evolve." The findings prompted Johnson to reassign Melvin Caraway, the acting head of the Transportation Security Agency, to another post within the DHS. The Homeland Security tests were conducted by so-called red teams, where agents who pose as passengers try to get fake explosives and other weapons through TSA screening. The report described one incident in which a red team agent set off an alarm, though the TSA employee conducting the subsequent pat-down missed the fake bomb taped to the agent's back. Johnson said airport screening is just one layer of security, but he called for TSA to re-evaluate its screening equipment, revise its standard operating procedures, brief security directors at all U.S. airports, and train TSA screeners based on information in the report. For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. Antiwar.com reports in a 67-32 vote yesterday, the U.S. Senate passed the USA Freedom Act, a watered-down reform bill that will renew Section 215 of the USA Patriot Act, which expired over the weekend. The bill was passed without amendment and will go straight to President Obama for his signature. The White House praised the passage after expressing annoyance over the weekend with Senator Rand Paul's filibuster, which was ultimately blocked yesterday with only 14 senators voting to allow it to continue. The USA Freedom Act has long been criticized for being such a narrow reform bill, offering little in assurance that bulk surveillance will actually stop, and simply changing the process by which the data is being stored, putting it in the hand of the phone companies instead of the NSA. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was complaining about the bill, saying it took too much surveillance power away from the government, and despite the bill's relatively weak nature, the ACLU and others were trumpeting it as at least something of a victory. The passage in signing will end a little under 48 hours of life without Section 215 of the USA Patriot Act on the books. Administration officials say the NSA program and metadata collection will be back up and running within a day of the president signing it back into law. Officials made no mention of any changes in the operation of the program despite the nominal reforms. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
new trend in offices across the country. More and more people are switching to fetal position desks so that they can curl up in a ball on the floor while they work. Aaron Vaughn has a story.
The human body isn't meant to sit at a desk for 6 or 7 hours. The natural position, especially in the workplace, is to shut down completely, return to a womb-like state, and rock back and forth to soothe yourself.
Fetal position desks, which are even popping up in offices like Google and Facebook, come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some have adjustable height, so you can cower underneath them, while more expensive options include a warm, pulsating blanket for workers to wrap themselves in to feel calm. But many people are making their own.
I've rigged this up so I can type comfortably and my arms won't get tired. Plus, it's got speakers so I can listen to a comforting voice saying shh over and over again.
I've tried a fetal position desk myself, and I can say it's a great way to get through the f***ing day.
Thanks, Aaron. I hate my job.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited here to join us on the radio at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Coming up from Truth Voice, how the USA Freedom Act is actually reducing freedom in America. We'll get into that, as some people may have heard some of the provisions of the Patriot Act expired earlier this week. But never fear, the government has a new plan, the Freedom Act. And, of course, whenever they say you're going to get more freedom, look out. Look out. So with you in studio tonight, it's Ian here.
Ridley.
And Mark.
And that's Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. As we go to your phone calls and thoughts, we've got Jerry. He's in St. George, Utah, listening to KZNU. Hello, Jerry.
How are you guys?
Good. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, I like your show, man.
Thanks.
Good job.
Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, I don't know who said it, but somebody said something about prohibition. One of your hosts.
We've said things about prohibition a lot. I don't know if we said it tonight, but
if something's banned, if there's a problem, it's usually because something's banned.
Yes.
That's funny, because that's what I've been thinking about since I started listening to you guys talk about the black communities, and I got this theory. Don't know how much time you got, but I'll make it brief. I wonder if the South, which had a lot of slaves, would have been allowed to naturally integrate and naturally get rid of slavery instead of having that forced on them, if there would be prejudice like there is in our country today.
Yeah, I think historically, I think Robert E. Lee was anti-slavery, wasn't he? And he would have been likely the president of the Confederacy if the Confederates had won. So he would have. I mean, that might have had some impact. I don't know.
Yeah, because I just noticed that when people are forced to do something, they resent it. And whether the blacks, well, obviously they didn't deserve it, but whether they were looked down upon or resented because the whites in the South, or the slave owners, or the people of the South, if you will, were forced to do what the federal government, made them do because they thought it was for the better, which it was. I mean, we all can agree slavery's a bad thing, But
yeah, I think it's an interesting question, and as far as slavery is concerned, it was eradicated amongst the rest of the world through mostly peaceful means. There was no wars in other places over slavery.
So I'm thinking about all the problems that blacks have had in northern areas post-Civil War. Things were marginally better for blacks in Chicago than they were in, say, Birmingham, prior to World War II and that sort of thing. And, it's even decades after that, but they're not much better. I mean, blacks have been taken advantage of as a community. It seems to me if you're black and you want to be treated well, the best bet you have, and you can call this bigoted if you want to, the best bet you have is to dress like white people, talk like white people, and live near white people. Like the worst, when blacks congregate as a group, that's when they are oppressed and, the police come after them. They're targeted by, business practices.
Police come after them anyway. Here in Keene, New Hampshire, which is what, 1% black or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe 0.7%. Here in Keene, New Hampshire, in the Cheshire County area, Cheshire County has the greatest of all of the 10 counties in New Hampshire arrest rate for black people with marijuana. If you are a black man with marijuana, you are 10 times more likely to be arrested, I believe, if I'm recalling the statistics correctly, than anybody else in Cheshire County. And so it sure as hell seems like black people, especially black males, are being targeted by the police with statistics like that.
I wouldn't claim otherwise.
Yeah.
No, and I think you're talking about two different issues. What your one host there said was when people congregate or when blacks congregate, that's when they're most likely targeted, and I think that's probably the case with.
But what I'm saying is they are not congregated here, right? Black people are not congregated in any way, shape, or form. That 1% is distributed all across Keene. There's not a black neighborhood here.
There's no question. Anyone that says that they're not prejudiced is probably lying. There's very few people that aren't prejudiced, that don't prejudge. I mean, if you look at the true meaning of it, it's hard not to as people, because we've been conditioned. If you know that I'm from the South and I grew up on a dairy farm, you're probably going to guess that
I don't want you as my brain surgeon, right? Like, I'm not looking for you as a rocket science or a brain surgeon, right?
Well, everyone discriminates.
I drink milk. You probably would assume that I drink milk.
Yeah,
right?
I would.
Well, Jerry, everybody may discriminate and may stereotype, but I don't think that I feel like I am not prejudiced on someone based on the color of their skin. However, if you wear a camouflage cap and you fly the rebel flag from your truck, I might jump to the conclusion that you're a redneck. So if somebody dresses like a thug and has their hat turned backwards and they have
has a Malcolm X shirt on, you might think that they're racist.
I don't see anybody with Malcolm X shirts on these days.
I've never seen anybody with a Malcolm.
Well, maybe not these days.
But if you want to dress like a thug, I'm going to presume you're a thug. I don't care what color of your skin is. There are certain judgments people can make based on evidence, but the fact that somebody has a black color skin is not evidence of their personality whatsoever.
Well, also, I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying, as people, it's hard for us to not be conditioned to prejudge, and you can blame that on who you want. The fact of the matter is in a couple other callers have said it, and you guys have said it too, without really having true conversations and looking at the real problems and having an open forum about it, then you're never going to solve the problem, because everybody's got an agenda. They got predetermined, motivation on what they're trying to convince everybody of, and no one wants to look at the real. And I like the idea that prohibition, that one thing, is related to this topic, I think.
Well, I think it definitely is.
So we can learn from it and use it to help in the future to not, for example, drugs. That's a huge deal. Because of the prohibition, I think that's created a bigger problem. I mean, if you want to keep people from off of drugs, which I think leads to poverty, which I think leads to violent crimes in a lot of cases, then education. Educate people. Don't try and fool everybody into thinking that marijuana is something that it isn't. Educate people and then let them make a decision. And most times, educated people will eventually, especially, make the right decision.
Dave, you wanted to jump in there?
You're not going to cure all the problems.
Well, this is dated now by about 2 minutes, but we were talking about targeting, black folks getting targeted when they're bunched, black folks getting targeted when they're isolated. Mm-hmm. The truth is, again, it's sort of a military tactical concept, I guess, that you want to be somewhere between bunched and isolated. And that's why the Free State Project is such genius, because it is a strategic concentration of activists, but not a tactical concentration of them. We're not isolated here, but we're also not bunched.
Thanks, Jerry, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. All that said, though, Dave, to some extent, some level of bunching, I think, can be beneficial. Like, for instance, I would rather have my neighbors be Free Staters than anybody else, simply because I think they're a good quality of person generally. There's some exceptions to that, but I like the idea of having liberty lovers living right next door. And in fact, we actually have that here at the LRN.FM studios. The house across the street is owned by a freedom-friendly person and occupied by freedom-friendly people. And I think that gives a level of kind of like a neighborhood block party or an association, neighborhood association, that can't really exist anywhere else. Libertarians are too spread thin. And I feel better having those folks as my neighbors.
Well, I kind of
You're holding.
Oh, sorry. I kind of like it for the novelty because I don't know very many other places in New Hampshire where that's happening. But if we had bunched all of the liberty activists into a
one
small
city?
area, that would have been a problem. New Hampshire is big enough that I think it would take, 2.5 hydrogen bombs to kill half of us.
Is that right? I've never done that calculation before.
I haven't either, and I question why you have.
Well, some people worry that they're going to drop bombs on us, Mark. The idea being
hydrogen bombs?
Whatever kind of bombs.
I don't think that they're going to drop hydrogen bombs anywhere anymore.
And when I say us, I mean New Hampshireites and not necessarily Free Staters. But
anyway.
Yeah, some people are concerned that the federal government will drop bombs on New Hampshire if enough liberty-minded people move there, or they'll begin an assassination campaign. Personally, I don't worry about that kind of stuff.
Well, okay, so that's very interesting as far as Free State Project members go, but it isn't very helpful for people of the black community, right? That living together thing has been tried, and so far, it's not going that great for them.
855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely risk-free with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-940-5957. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-940-5957. That's 1-800-940-5957. 1-800-940-5957.
Hi, this is Mark Edge, host of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the very economic engine that powers this country. With a printing press tethered to Washington politicians, bureaucrats, and central bankers, how can we put our trust in paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Come see gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold. With Washington, D.C. delivering more debt and printed promises, common sense tells us the future of the trend is obvious. Everyone listening should visit gold.freetalklive.com or call 877-357-9938. I trust Midas Resources for my gold, silver, platinum, and you can too. Again, I want you to have this book, and it's free. It's gold.freetalklive.com or 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
We're back with more Free Talk Live. You can join us here toll free, 855-450-FREE. Coming up, the USA Freedom Act, details on how it is not going to increase your freedom. We'll get into that. But first, one way to increase your freedom might be to go to Fort Galt.
It might be. It's up to you, and you got to figure out what's right for you. But Fort Galt is a project that's going on down in Chile. What they're doing is they're building a little community. It's sort of like a condominium complex, but it's unique in the sense that they have very small units. The units are really only intended as bedrooms, perhaps with a little desk in them. They have many common areas. Restaurant, coffee bar, kitchen, and business areas where young professionals, freelancers, small business owners, these folks that are traveling the world, their families can all get together and sort of collaborate on projects. I think it's a fascinating idea, and I'm really interested in what they can build. There's a active conversation going on Facebook where the Fort Galters are talking about what they're going to create, and they're looking for new people to be involved. And I think that it is certainly right for some people. Go check it out. It's fortgalt.com. Galt is spelled as in like John Galt. Fortgalt, GALT.com. And look at their great videos. They've got a great website. Their Facebook page is very active. And I think that it's wonderful because you don't have to outlay a whole bunch of money. You just make a commitment, and then as they progress in what they're doing, then you lay out more and more money as time goes by, and you can rent out this unit when you're not using it. So it could very well be a money-making venture for you. FortGalt.com.
All right, so toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. I say we move on here, gentlemen, and by the way, Dave Ridley joining Ian and Mark in the studio tonight, to Virgil Viduva over at truthvoice.com, how the USA Freedom Act is actually reducing freedom in America. You may not know it yet, says Virgil, but there is a reason why the NSA was in favor of the USA Freedom Act, which was successfully passed in the U.S. Senate with a final vote of 67-32. This was preceded by a tumultuous weekend of Rand Paul throwing sticks into the wheels of other senators willing to renew an unamended version of the original Patriot Act, which allegedly was the only document allowing for the NSA and other federal agencies to perform mass surveillance on millions of unsuspecting Americans. Consequently, the newly shaped and misnamed Freedom Act, which has nothing to do with freedom, is turning out to be just another joke pulled on the Americans who are now too busy debating the sexual exploits of Bruce Jenner to pay too much attention to how their freedom is slowly being strangled by the sadists in Washington, D.C. The scene is nothing short of a comedy put on full display in front of the public, unaware of the fact that they are in fact watching a snuff film where liberty will pay the final price. Mainstream media outlets are excitedly describing the passage of this bill as a win for the American people, outlining how the NSA is now facing an uphill battle in collecting bulk digital data about all of us. Even Reason magazine, who should be a beacon for common sense and reason, is describing the bill as a win that does not end mass surveillance. Bit of a bipolar conclusion, if you ask me, says Virgil. Here's the excerpt from Reason, quote, "No, it does not end mass metadata collection entirely, but it does require more selective search terms for records, collecting them from the telecom and internet companies using these terms, not just trying to collect all records and then searching through them for the ones that they want." And that's the excerpt from Reason. Virgil continues, "I'm quite confused as to how a few additional search attributes makes it more difficult to spy on us."
Well, the thing is, with any federal law, especially federal law, sometimes New Hampshire law, the only part of the law that counts is the part that grows the government. The rest will be ignored, right? If the law 90% of it is worded great and it shrinks the government, but 10% of it is worded to grow the government, well, that's the only part that will get implemented. And the only part, I mean, you only have to get to the bad part. If there's one bad sentence in a bill that's 400 pages long, it's a bad bill. So you can just assume that anything the federals bring out, because it's probably going to, I don't know how many pages long this bill was.
Good
I mean,
question.
has anyone even read it? So
Probably not even the people
you just have
who
to
voted
assume
for it.
that there's going to be some small thing in there at least that makes the government bigger or worse or whatever. That's the only part that's going to count.
Vaduva says, but I'm sorry to be the one to inform you that this bill will not increase your freedom as an American, nor will it end mass surveillance by the federal government. Not only does the Freedom Act not increase freedom, but it's actually making it easier for the NSA and other federal agencies to monitor Americans without oversight. It's a well-known fact among information security professionals that the NSA has been in bed with telecom companies for decades, even well before 9/11. For example, the existence of Room 641A at 611 Folsom Street in San Francisco was exposed well before Edward Snowden's revelations, but nothing could be done about the existence of this surveillance facility, as it was the result of a voluntary relationship between AT&T and the National Security Agency. Worse, the information about the blatant partnership between the NSA and AT&T was made public in graphic detail by Mark Klein, an AT&T employee who blew the whistle on the existence of the surveillance facility. Klein even swore under oath the following statement, quote, "While doing my job, I learned that fiber optic cables from the secret room were tapping into the WorldNet circuits by splitting off a portion of the light signal. I saw this in a design document available to me entitled Study Group 3 Splitter Wiring San Francisco, dated from 2002. I also saw design documents which instructed technicians on connecting some of the already in-service circuits to the splitter cabinet, which diverts some of the light signal into the secret room. The circuits listed were the peering links, which connect WorldNet with other networks and hence the whole country as well as the rest of the world." Unquote. In 2006, the story fizzled out into a lawsuit by the Electronic Frontier Foundation against AT&T, with the Supreme Court refusing to hear the case in 2011 after it was dismissed by the Ninth Circuit based on retroactive grant of immunity that the Congress used to protect telecom companies who were willing to partner up with the NSA voluntarily. So since AT&T was partnering with the NSA on their own volition, there was nothing that could be done about this violation of your privacy. The revelation in Room 641 is just the tip of the iceberg. The NSA has hundreds, if not thousands, of commercial agreements with corporations who are voluntarily assisting them with surveillance activities. The beauty of these agreements is they don't require warrants, and they're not subject to congressional oversight. The money is what speaks loudest here, and when 70% of the U.S. intelligence budget goes to private corporate NSA partners, the picture becomes very clear. Everyone is in bed with the NSA, and the passage of the USA Freedom Act is just masturbation to please the masses. The FISA court, which was handling surveillance requests under the Patriot Act, has no authority to dictate the extent of the private and voluntary agreement between telcos like AT&T and Verizon and the NSA. The metadata or bulk data that these telcos are collecting and turning over to the NSA voluntarily is also not subject to any warrants or permissions given by the FISA court. In essence, the passage of the Freedom Act is actually making things worse for Americans from a state surveillance perspective, as it is now forcing the NSA to use unscrutinized side channels to collect data.
So let me ask you this. So the Patriot Act has expired now.
Portions
of it have expired, and the USA Freedom Act has not yet been enacted. Aren't we in a superior position now than we would be if the Freedom Act are we not more free today than we would be once the Freedom Act is passed?
I suppose, presuming you believe the NSA has actually stopped doing whatever spying they were supposedly
Right, I'm just talking about it in the
doing.
sense of law and that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, but we all know that doesn't matter, right? Like, the NSA was doing things illegally.
I think it matters. I think that Rand Paul did a wonderful thing here.
The NSA was doing things illegally before, and they haven't been punished for it, so the law doesn't matter a flip. Nobody cares about it in the government because they're not actually accountable to it, at least at the NSA. 855-450-FREE. More on this, and your thoughts are welcome. Free Talk Live.
now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Due to an upturn in the economy, Main Street Business Loans has pre-approved the release of millions of dollars in small business funding. Your business may already be pre-approved to receive up to $250,000. We've sent out millions of pre-approval letters. We see the economy growing, and our underwriters believe now is the time to invest in your business so you can grow faster and make more money. And we're prepared to give you up to $250,000 to do it. Your funds can be available in 5 days. There are no application fees, no annual fees, just quick access to up to $250,000. If your business did not receive your approval letter to get up to $250,000, call Main Street Business Loans Approval Desk now.
800-430-4505. 800-430-4505. 800-430-4505. That's 800-430-4505.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We'll take your calls about what you want. Just dial in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And don't forget to join us over at freetalklive.com to enjoy the features that you will find there. Next issue. We actually had one of our Free Talk Live amplifiers post on the AMP forum that, when you become an amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com, you get access to the AMP Facebook group. Actually, to be clear, he posted on the Facebook group, not the forum. Nobody goes to the forum anymore, but it's still there. The Facebook group is where a lot of people will spend time, and he posted raving about next issue. He's got it for his, I believe it was his iPad, one of those tablet devices and loves it because, it's nice to look at in that large format. I have not seen it in that format personally because I have it on my phone. And it's great on the phone, but it's obviously even better on a tablet because Next Issue gives you access to over 150 of some of the best and most popular magazines in North America for $10 a month. Something like that. Plans start as low as $9.99. There's one for $15 as well. I think the $15 plan gets you access to all the weekly magazines, and the $10 one does the monthlies, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
But basically, for the cost of 2 magazines at the newsstand, you get access to over 150 magazines over at nextissue.com/FTL. You get signed up today for a free trial, and you'll get a $15 savings. You get the first month for free. 30 days for free, no commitments. You can cancel anytime. It's all your favorite magazines and more, probably some you've never even heard of before. Some big names in there, like People Magazine, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, Men's Health, Entertainment Weekly. There's I think it's Popular Photography might be in there. There's a few of those popular magazines.
The word popular?
Yeah, and there's just a bunch of stuff in there. I can't even name them all for you. Go and try it out for yourself. It'll work on your iPhone, your Android-based device, the iPad, and Android tablets. And just go to nextissue.com/FTL and get started with your free trial. It's like the Netflix for magazines, only better, with access to all of the latest issues at nextissue.com/FTL to get yourself that first month for free. So back briefly here to truthvoice.com, where Virgil Viduva is writing. He, by the way, is a libertarian security professional, so he knows a thing or two about this stuff. And what he's pointing out is an interesting I guess, detail that I hadn't talked about previously. I didn't even think about this. He's pointing out that despite this USA Freedom Act and the expiration of these Patriot Act provisions that supposedly is making things better for Americans, he's pointing out that the NSA still has all these private agreements with telecommunications providers. And when they enter into a private contract with AT&T, for instance, to where AT&T just says, here you go, we'll just give you access to everything. We can set your equipment up over here in this room 641A, and then you'll be able to link into, the highest level of traffic on our network. And here you go, guys. Well, then they don't need a warrant because they've got permission from the company to come in there. They don't need to jump through any legal hoops. They've just got like a backroom tap in to all that data.
I suspect they don't, that this isn't just the companies going, whoop, well, here you go.
Well, they're getting money, apparently.
If I opened a phone company that did not give out the records of the people that that do business with me, and I don't know whether this is even possible without buying a backbone, right? Can they go through some other phone company to undercut somebody who's just sort of buying? I don't even know how to use it. I don't have the proper terminology to describe this, but if you open your own, you can open your own phone company, but essentially you're using the big telecoms.
Their lines.
Yeah, their lines and all that stuff. And
it's highly regulated, that business anyway. You probably just can't just waltz right in and start a phone company.
I bet you could, but I don't know whether or not you could actually keep the information of your clientele secret. And I want to know what would happen to that company from a federal standpoint. I'll bet you they go after you like,
gangbusters.
Yeah, dogs on a trail.
The NSA has the money, says Virgil Viduva, and the motivation to bribe and pay their way into your phone, home, or bedroom, regardless of the laws passed by Congress. The $10 million paid to the RSA to insert a backdoor into their encryption products is a drop in the bucket. Billions of dollars flow to companies like Microsoft, Booz Allen, Orange, Stratfor, and Vodafone that allow for the backdooring of products or outright tapping into the lives of unsuspecting Americans. And the CIA has even retained In-Q-Tel in order to place investments into high-tech startups in order to retain their technologies or place backdoors into their products in exchange for money. So basically saying that these major telecommunications providers are taking money from the NSA, your taxpayer dollars, and then granting the NSA access to all of their technology and even planting backdoors in software, security software. And when the NSA cannot legally spy on Americans, they retain the services of companies like Palantir Technologies, which will spy on us on their behalf. WikiLeaks was sort of like extraordinary rendition, right? Well, we're not torturing those people. we're handing them to people in other countries who are torturing them for us.
Yeah.
So same thing here.
Torture contractors.
We're not spying on you. It's Palantir Technologies that's doing it, according to Virgil here. Together with, WikiLeaks provided documents showing that Palantir employees, together with consultants from the now defunct HB Gary Federal, will provide software able to collect, analyze, and correlate information from the general public, while also being able to create public streams of misinformation aimed at discrediting critics of the federal government, such as Glenn Greenwald. It's not necessary to continue explaining why America has yet again been suckered into supporting the illusion of freedom, while in fact losing freedom on every single front. This is my desperate attempt to throw a little bit of light and cold water on the spectacle that continues to unfold before our eyes.
You know, Virgil Vaduva is from Romania.
He is.
Yeah, communist Romania. He came here to the United States in the late 80s with $100 in his pocket. I can only imagine, and he's a very successful man. I shouldn't use the term very successful. He's not flying around in a Learjet or anything like that. But he's not doing too bad, and he's got a wonderful, beautiful family, and life is the way he wants it to be. I imagine that it is very difficult emotionally for these people that came from these Eastern Bloc countries, to see what they say. I'm not saying it. I'm only repeating what I hear from them, is that this country's turning into what they left decades ago. So those countries have gotten freer over time, and this one, from what they're saying, has gotten less so. Now, this isn't the first time.
I take their word for it.
Yeah, I take their word for it too, absolutely. I take this as a given at this point. And it's not because Virgil Vaduva told me. It's because I've heard Virgil say it. Irina Goddard, former president of the Free State Project. Yeah. I can't remember what the Polish Tony who was moved up in Grafton.
We had various callers to the show as well.
Right. And, obviously there's people who've called in. But, I mean, so many people I've heard that have come from these, Eastern Bloc countries, from Russia, Soviet Union, or whatever it is. And they're like, yeah, this is what they sounded. This is what our politicians sounded like. And I think it should be a scary omen, but Americans seem to be...
I've heard that from other Eastern Europeans, too. Yeah.
Yep. Americans, like he said, seem to be far more interested in Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner's proclivities than anything else right now, today.
So Virgil has written a very good article there, and I just wish he was in New Hampshire.
I know. I hope he gets up here sooner rather than later.
He's creating
he's having a lot of fun down there in Ohio, though, it appears, getting arrested and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's going to shoot his bolt. He's going to pull Lauren Canario. Lauren did her best stuff before she came to New Hampshire. If she just waited till she was here.
So he goes on a little bit more from him. He's trying to throw a bit of light and cold water on the spectacle that continues to unfold before our eyes, both the sadistic and masochistic relationship between the American people and their government. It's a bizarre, pseudo-religious display of flag worship and patriotism, which is repaid by the state with more pain, tyranny, taxation, and war. The scandalous display will continue unabated until principled whistleblowers and technology, not Congress, will save us from the ever-present eyes of the NSA. But yet the people in Congress get to pat themselves on the back and, try to make it look like they did something for the American people and act like they are, the heroes who are saving us from the NSA, when in point of fact, very little, if anything, is going to change. And your privacy is certainly not guaranteed. You still have to take steps. Last night it was Monday night. On Monday night's show, we went through a list of options for you to protect your privacy. Of course, ProXPN and TechSecure and other things. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. You may bring up what you want. This is Free Talk Live. Let's talk about Liberland coming up.
Well, I did it. I finally left the empire behind. And now that I'm safely settled in Chile, I'm gathering with others like me to build a new community called Fort Galt. Fort Galt is designed to be the ideal home base for professionals and their families to live and work in peace. If you're ready to ditch the superstate and bring your business to freer lands, visit us online at fortgalt.com. That's fortgalt.com.
How fast are new Allegra gel caps?
I didn't know you got a cat fast.
How strong are new Allegra gel caps?
10 more lawns to go strong.
Non-drowsy Allegra gives you noticeable relief of your toughest allergy symptoms in just 1 hour, 2 times faster than Claritin, and stays strong for 24 hours. New Allegra gel caps. Nothing's faster, nothing's stronger. Among OTC oral antihistamines, refers to first dose only. Starts working in 1 hour. Use only as directed. Visit Allegra.com.
Did you know some countries are now banning GMO foods? It's true. That's why for quality storable foods, you need ready-made resources. For over 19 years, we've become the name you can trust for thousands of products, like Numana Healthy Food Storage. All Numana storable foods are non-GMO, non-soy, and gluten-free available. Call 800-627-3809 or click ReadyMadeResources.com. Ready-Made Resources. We don't just sell the products, we live it.
Good people need help. The Homeowners Association said we had weeds and fined us $25. We told them they had the wrong house. They said if we didn't pay it, they'd file a lien. Our attorney demanded photographs, witnesses, and told them if they couldn't provide this, they must cease and desist. Issue solved. Worry less and live more with lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com or call 855-340-SAVE. That's 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. You can help by joining the AMP program for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com and getting perks. That's amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
If worst comes to worst, will you be prepared? You don't have to be a survivalist to prepare for the unexpected. Storing necessary supplies like food, water, and emergency equipment is simply taking responsibility for ourselves and our families when it counts the most. StrategicShelters.com offers emergency supplies and a secure way to store them, and provides protection for loved ones in the event of an extreme natural or man-made disaster. To find out more, visit StrategicShelters.com. If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us on the radio here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And join us online at freetalklive.com. If you like the show and the program here, you can support Free Talk Live by shopping with us. You go to shop.freetalklive.com, enter Amazon through the affiliate links you'll find there. There's Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, and Amazon US. You just go through those links and you buy what you need. It's the same great Amazon prices, the same free Super Saver shipping, everything you're used to. It's just you're entering through our affiliate link, so Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale. Get your shopping started and help Free Talk Live at once by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Again, shop.freetalklive.com. And get lots more Dave Ridley over at ridleyreport.com. You being on Free Talk Live is great. I've enjoyed having you here, and we're going to continue as we can on into the future, Dave. But because you kind of move around, right? Like at some point, you're going to probably move away from Keene again and base your activities elsewhere. But I got to say, I'm enjoying the heck out of having you around. The videos that you've been putting out recently at RidleyReport.com are very kind of classic Ridley ambush-style videos, and those are some of my favorites because you have a few different styles of video that you will produce. And the ambush ones are just so much fun because you put those bureaucrats on the spot, and they absolutely hate it. Many of them. Some of them are good sports and will actually talk to you to some extent or another. Some are a little more forthcoming, but most of them just kind of talk and say nothing. Like, they say a lot of words, but ultimately don't really say anything. And then most of them will ignore you completely, whether it's school board members, city council members. They just pretend like you don't exist, and it just seems so childish.
That's not accurate. I would say some of them ignore me completely. It's actually somewhat rare for someone to completely ignore a question. Now, if I've asked them 5 questions and they stopped at the 4th question and got tired of it, they might start ignoring me. But that's really actually not the rule. It's more the exception.
Maybe, okay, yeah. Well, I'll take your word for it. There were some videos recently where it seemed like the majority of them were ignoring you when you were talking to them. But it's been nice to see you hound the Keene city councilors, and actually you went after the guy who stole my cell phone from my hands years ago. So you've got an ironclad memory, and you've been dredging up old incidents here in Keene that I'm sure these bureaucrats figured people forgot about a long time ago. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if you remember this, Mark, but the guy that stole my cell phone from my hands back in 2009 when I was outside of City Hall.
Sure, I remember that clearly.
Yeah, that guy, you just happened, you didn't plan this, did you?
I didn't even recognize him when he first walked past me. I asked him if he was on the council.
So he's coming in as you ask him if he's on the council. He goes into the room, and then you're observing the city council meeting, and you find out this is the guy who stole my cell phone 6 years ago. He's now retiring.
Now, he just took it briefly, right? I mean, when you say stole my cell phone.
He stole my cell phone, and then he handed it over to the police. It took me like an hour to get it back. He stole it. So anyway,
I'm not claiming he didn't. I'm just trying to give people a clear picture of what happened.
Yeah, he walked up, snatched it out of my hands. That's exactly what happened. And so it was interesting because you just happened to be there the night when he's retiring and like getting some sort of an award ceremony from the Keene City Council. And then on the way out,
help him celebrate his reward.
Right.
His award.
So he's like flying high on this back patting by the bureaucrats. And then on the way out the door, Ridley confronts him about a 6-year-old incident where he stole a phone. It was one of the most shocking videos that I think I've seen in recent memory from you, Dave, just because, not because of your technique or anything like that, but just because of his answer to your question, where you kind of gave him an opportunity to eat a little crow, maybe be sorry, or at least admit that he did something wrong by stealing my cell phone. And it almost for a moment seems like he's going to. Like, you seem to be impressed by him because he
was protecting me from his wife, I guess, or whoever that woman was that was grabbing at my camera.
She actually touched your camera, and he says to her, don't touch his camera, don't touch his phone, or whatever. He says something like that. And so that prompts you to be a little bit pleasantly surprised, it seems. And you're like, well, it seems that that you've changed. And then he says, oh, no, I haven't. And then he actually, I forget the exact wording, but he says something like, I thought he was giving me his cell phone. And my jaw literally dropped about as far as it possibly could, that this man could actually believe.
He doesn't believe that.
I don't think he could believe that, but that he would have the gumption to even say something as so ridiculous on video camera, nonetheless, to claim that the reason he snatches my camera out of my hands is because he believed I was giving it to him.
You know that this was the source of a great deal of having a good time. Like, he was a hero amongst the firefighters and police, for a period of time because of this action. And it is what it is. I'm not claiming one way or the other. I can understand why, government workers here in Keene are frustrated by, the activists. I get it. But I think that the video activism that's done here in Keene, New Hampshire is some of the most important. There's always going to be people that don't get why we need progress in society, but it is a progress for the average citizen to be able to film government bureaucrats.
We are creating an historical sorry to interrupt, but we're creating an historical record for their children to watch later on and their grandchildren after they're gone. Seneca
Many of them
said,
do not like that.
Yeah, Seneca said, make war on the men. The women have too long memories. So
what does that have to do with anything?
In that respect, we want to be like the women, have a long memory that makes you a harder target.
I see. Because I was going to say, I'll pick on the female bureaucrats, too.
Yeah.
I got no problem.
The sex-related part of Seneca's statement is not relevant here, but the idea is you want to have a long memory. It makes you a better fighter.
Gotcha.
And the idea that we would bring up something from 2009, I will bring up something from 1999 if I get a chance. But it's just, I work with what I know.
I think it's great. I mean, and the other one was another one that you did from the Keene. I think it was the same meeting. There was this bureaucrat, Andy. We call him Dancing Andy. He's Andy Bohannon. He's the Parks and Rec director here in Keene, who made a name for himself about 2 years ago in Central Square in downtown Keene, where he appeared to try to intimidate the people who were down there chalking the police. There was an event that happened a couple years in a row called Chalk the Police, where activists would come out. This was before the whole chalk war thing that happened last year. So this was back when chalking was unmolested, basically, by most people. In this case, this bureaucrat comes over and tries to threaten the people who are chalking in the park. And he even obscures his name tag. He actually grabs his name tag that was hanging on a lanyard and shoves it into his jacket.
While he's illegally parked and in a very busy area.
That's right. I forgot that. I don't think you showed that
on
your
a
video.
road.
Right. He actually just pulls over in Central Square and just parks his van and puts the emergency lights on. No one else can do that.
The spot he was in Central Square, agreed, no one else can do it, but the spot he was is, traffic tends to drift towards the outside of the circle.
Are you making excuses for him blocking traffic?
I don't know. That is a dangerous area of traffic. Very dangerous. I'm always scared when I'm in that circle.
That's the definition of disorderly conduct for you and I.
It is that.
So anyway, he obscures his name tag. And, is really acting like he is some kind of an enforcer and comes out there. And, of course, nobody really cares what he has to say, but they got him on video nonetheless. You cornered him about that. And he actually denies. It sounds like he denies when you ask him if that was him who had done those
at the time, I got the impression he was denying that he wanted to be talked to. I think that was how it felt at the time. Looking at the video, it sounds like he's denying it. Yeah.
And then he's quiet after that. He won't answer any of your questions and scurries off to his car and takes off, and it was just so.
Well, that's probably the best thing he can do is not answer any of Dave's questions.
Yeah,
I mean, really, when it comes down, if Dave's interviewing
you, I think you're wrong because Rhett Lamb sort of made some of the same mistakes. He's the planning guy. I think he's planning director. Yeah. He initially, I interviewed him, and he freaked out and handled it terribly and stuff like that. And he came back 5 minutes later, and he said, "You know what? I tell you what, we can make an appointment and I can talk to you."
Mm-hmm.
And I did not air his ambush interview as a result of that. And I did interview him with an appointed interview and stuff like that. And now we're, hi, Rhett. It's very easy to talk to him. And it's so him talking to me actually was very helpful for him in that case.
Now, normally you don't make the appointments because didn't you start doing the ambush interviews because you'd already tried to do these appointments and they'll blow you off?
Yeah, but when Rhett said, "Why don't we make an appointment?" It was obvious he was going to take the appointment.
Okay.
And I could do it by the phone. I didn't necessarily have to go there.
I see.
Well,
didn't John McLean invite you to do the same thing? The city manager invited you to come talk to him at the office about his salary or whatever?
I don't remember him ever inviting me to make an appointment or to come see him at the office.
I thought that was in the video.
I could be forgetting something.
Yeah, I thought that was in your most recent video where he was acting like, well, I don't have the numbers about my own salary in front of me, so come on by the office and we'll, talk about it there.
Okay.
So anyway, it's great to have you back here. Dave Ridley at ridleyreport.com. You can go there and get all kinds of content from Dave. He's updating, how many times a week are you putting out videos these days?
Oh, it's only about 3 or 4 a week now.
Only 3 or 4. How many people out there who are videographers are even doing 3 or 4 videos a week? I mean, that's, I understand that you're talking.
Well, you should do 7 a week.
Well, I see. So you're down from your own personal record, but still, probably you are one of the most prolific content producers here in New Hampshire, and hopefully we can have some more people at your level at some point here. So come on out and join the fun, freestateproject.org. We're going to come back with more here in moments, and we'll talk about Liberland. Dave, you've got some ideas for the burgeoning independent nation. It's Free Talk Live.
In a trial by jury, the primary function of a juror is not to dispense punishment to the accused. It is to protect your fellow citizens from being unjustly deprived of their life, liberty, or property. As a juror, you can say no to unjust laws and prevent government abuses of power by refusing to convict. legislative, executive, judicial. The fourth branch of government is we the people. Find out more from the Fully Informed Jury Association at fija.org.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2015. Silver is trading at $16.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,191 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $227. Antiwar.com reports U.S. officials are confirming last week's report of direct talks with the Yemen Shiite Houthi faction, saying the meetings in Oman were aimed at persuading the Houthis to participate in the Geneva Peace Conference. The U.S. has shown a surprising amount of interest in convincing the Houthis about the talks, courting Iranian help in recent meetings and also holding direct talks with the Houthis, but there is no indication that Saudi Arabia, whose war against Yemen the U.S. is backing, will participate anyhow, nor will the Riyadh-based government in exile, which has ruled out any participation in any talks with the Houthis unless the Shiites first agree to surrender several cities to them as a show of faith. The Houthis have always suggested that they were open to talks if the airstrikes ended. There has been speculation that the State Department was courting the Houthis about a handful of U.S. citizens held inside Yemen, a belief compounded by the release of one American over the weekend. Despite this, U.S. officials made no mention of that being a topic of discussion. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month or any amount of Bitcoin per month, thanks to the recurring payment options provided by Coinbase. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports an internal investigation by the Department of Homeland Security revealed on Monday that undercover agents managed to get weapons through airport security in 67 out of 70 tests. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson said in a statement, "The numbers in these reports never look good out of context, but they are a critical element in the continual evolution of our aviation security. We take these findings very seriously in our continued effort to test, measure, and enhance our capabilities and techniques as threats evolve." The findings prompted Johnson to reassign Melvin Caraway, the acting head of the Transportation Security Agency, to another post within the DHS. The Homeland Security tests were conducted by so-called red teams, where agents who pose as passengers try to get fake explosives and other weapons through TSA screening. The report described one incident in which a red team agent set off an alarm, though the TSA employee conducting the subsequent pat-down missed the fake bomb taped to the agent's back. Johnson said airport screening is just one layer of security, but he called for TSA to re-evaluate its screening equipment, revise its standard operating procedures, brief security directors at all U.S. airports, and train TSA screeners based on information in the report. For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. Antiwar.com reports in a 67-32 vote yesterday, the U.S. Senate passed the USA Freedom Act, a watered-down reform bill that will renew Section 215 of the USA Patriot Act, which expired over the weekend. The bill was passed without amendment and will go straight to President Obama for his signature. The White House praised the passage after expressing annoyance over the weekend with Senator Rand Paul's filibuster, which was ultimately blocked yesterday with only 14 senators voting to allow it to continue. The USA Freedom Act has long been criticized for being such a narrow reform bill, offering little in assurance that bulk surveillance will actually stop, and simply changing the process by which the data is being stored, putting it in the hand of the phone companies instead of the NSA. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was complaining about the bill, saying it took too much surveillance power away from the government, and despite the bill's relatively weak nature, the ACLU and others were trumpeting it as at least something of a victory. The passage and signing will end a little under 48 hours of life without Section 215 of the USA Patriot Act on the books. Administration officials say the NSA program and metadata collection will be back up and running within a day of the president signing it back into law. Officials made no mention of any changes in the operation of the program despite the nominal reforms. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. A month after the death of leader Kim Jong-il, North Korea's 24.5 million citizens have returned to their regular daily routines this week, holding a festive synchronized disco jump rope gala in Pyongyang's main public square. Life in the hermetic communist nation is reportedly beginning to normalize following the protracted mourning period, with citizens once again donning their brightly colored uniforms and performing intricate gymnastics routines in perfect unison.
It is an inspiring sight to see so many loyal citizens find the strength to unfurl their long silken streamers and do dozens of tandem backflips set to dance music.
Observers reported that new North Korean leader Kim Jong-un nodded once in approval of the disco jump rope gala, signaling an official transfer of power.
A recent study from the Centers for Disease Control finds that over 100 million children are being exposed to harmful levels of stupidity in their own homes. Hear the debate about secondhand ignorance on the next In the Know.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live, you're invited to join us here on the radio waves. 855-450 free. We're also on the internet waves and satellite waves.
Does the internet have waves?
Yeah.
I hear that it has tubes.
Yeah, everything's a vibration. 855-450 free.
Is this more of your new age mumbo jumbo?
Maybe.
Okay.
And with you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
Ridley.
And Mark.
And let's go to your calls and thoughts. Then Ridley will tell us some ideas for Liberland, that 3 square miles plot of land right between Croatia and Serbia, where some people have decided they are going to try to live and have sort of staked their claim to what was supposedly unclaimed lands and have called it their own country. Let's go to Mike, though, first in Oregon. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Ridley, and Mark.
Hey, guys. How you doing
Hey,
tonight?
Mike, go ahead, sir.
Good. Dave Ridley, it's finally great to be able to talk to you. I don't know if you remember me or not. I was the guy who, this was January 17th of 2006. You were sitting right next to me in the, I believe it was the State House in Concord, New Hampshire. I was the guy that was trying to change the window tint bill. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. You've often been an inspiration to me as to how much time a person can put into a bill and how well they can put everything together and just get totally blown off by a House committee.
That letter I put together, I'll talk about what I originally called in about in a second, but that letter that I kind of read was a condensed version of my letter. That letter originally was 10 pages long, and it took me 5.5 years to actually write it up.
Whoa.
And yeah, and the reason I did this was because New Hampshire is one of 6 states that does not allow window tinting to the left and right of the driver. And one of the things I actually proved is that I actually debunked a common myth that people have. In fact, it's a very stereotypical myth that if the vehicle comes with factory tinted windows, then it's completely legal. And one of the things that I did was that I actually proved that there is no such thing as factory tinted windows to the left and right of the driver. And it was very hard to prove, but I proved that every vehicle that ever had tinted windows to the front and on the front doors was in fact aftermarket. But I think the problem with my letter was it was a little too technological, and I didn't have enough argument as for like independent rights and such, and individual rights. It was a little too technological, and I think that's one of the reasons why it did not get pushed, any further.
I think you're being too hard. I think you're being too hard on yourself. I think your testimony was fine. This was exactly how a bill is supposed to be brought before the State House, and you did everything right on your first try, and you still got blown off.
Well, at least your failure was an inspiration. I mean, Dave, you said he was inspirational to you. So
there was a piece of data that I definitely collected there that affected my actions later on. But I do think that window tinting has probably gotten thousands of Americans killed. Not tinting, but the ban on tinting has probably got thousands of Americans killed.
Why?
Because it is so much safer to be in your car if no one can see where you are in your car, or if you are in your car. It would be a protection against carjacking and so forth.
I see what you're saying.
And you can reach for a weapon while you've got your windows tinted, and the carjacker cannot see you reach for the weapon.
Which, of course, is the reason why the police will claim they don't want windows to be tinted, because they don't want to come up on somebody who's got a gun up against the window.
Yeah, the solution to that is to have police not pulling people over anymore.
Mike, anything else you want to share tonight?
Yeah, the reason I originally called in was the video that you had of your phone being stolen by the cop, the paramedic.
The paramedic.
And he passed off. Okay, the paramedic. Then he passed off the cop.
That's right.
So then, after that, a video came up. I think Sam Dodson was filming you, and it was from Obscure Truth Network.
Yep.
And I saw I guess I want to say almost like an edited kind of version of it, because it was kind of put together that way. But do you actually have the raw video of that? Because you had asked John McClane a question, or you made a statement that, I can actually show you the proof. And he came back and said, well, first off, Ian, you can't show me the proof. And you would laugh and kind of cut to something else. What was the actual answer he gave, other than, well, you can't show me the proof? Because that's a nonsense.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm recalling correctly, you're talking about the city manager when I confronted him about the stealing of my camera by one of his employees. He basically blew me off and refused to look at the evidence of it.
But why? I mean, if you actually had the proof, why wouldn't he want to look at it?
Because he's under no obligation to do anything.
I also asked the fire chief to look at it, and he wouldn't look at it.
Yeah, see no evil, right? Like, oh, well, you've got all this evidence. Well, we don't want to see it.
We might have to do something if we saw it.
Yeah. So, hey, thanks, Mike, for your call tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, referring again to this video that you've now sort of resurfaced, Dave, with your recent reporting over at RidleyReport.com about a EMS worker who stole my phone out of my hands. And, yeah, I was a little shocked when, I had video evidence of this theft happening to me by a city employee, and the city manager, who normally will present himself as this reasonable guy who's willing to have a chat with you, essentially just blows me off.
Turns out, not so much.
If you commit a crime against Free Staters, and you're a government person, I hope to be able to bring it up in the year 2025 if you do it tomorrow.
And we hope you will as well. So, Liberland, Dave Ridley. It is the plot of land between Croatia and Serbia. 3 square kilometers, 3 square miles, 7 square kilometers. It is the president is Vit Jedlica. Official languages include Czech and English. Their motto is to live and let live. Unfortunately, the Croatian government is not letting them live. They are they haven't killed them yet, but they are trying to stop them from living free by preventing them from crossing into the territory. Apparently, it's easier to get into Liberland from Serbia. But, you've got some ideas for these guys. They're just getting started. They've set up a camp in Serbia that they're sort of their base of operations, and they're trying to move inward toward Liberland, is the last I heard, and it's been probably a week or two since we talked about them. So Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything new, or what did you want to bring to the table?
Well, for my Serbian friends, boje će biti ako oni ima srpsko jezik. What I'm saying is, it would be better if they had Serbian as one of the official languages. It would be a gesture of, I don't know,
international
respect for the locals. I think is what I'm trying to say, and it's also of the fact that the Serbian government is letting them in.
I guess they've been having parties there on the weekends. I've seen that.
Yeah, no, they've been staying there in tents all week.
They're actually in the property now?
That's what I saw.
They had a base of operations in Serbia for a while. So like I said, I haven't seen any updates in the last week or two.
It's hard to know, but that's my understanding of it. There's people camped out living there, I guess.
Yeah, but I just had a couple thoughts as to how whenever a government attacks Liberland, what they need to do and what we need to help them do. I hope to help them do is to make each government attack on Liberland should make Liberland stronger and that government weaker. So I want to try to do that a little bit tonight by, first of all, drawing attention to the fact that the Croatian government did commit some arrests. And I think every time the Croatian government arrests a Liberlander, or if the Serbian government does that, we should bring up a new Croatian war crime. Okay, so today's Croatian war crime would be from the Bosnian War. There's a whole page on Croatian war crimes in the Bosnian War, and it's 14 different crimes long. They're listed. They have their own pages. Let's just talk about.
You were over there at this time too. I'd like to point that out.
Yeah, and I love Croats, but they've got an awful government. Let's talk about the Amici massacre from Wikipedia.com. This was in 1993. Amici massacre was the culmination of the Lashva Valley ethnic cleansing committed by the Croatian community of Herceg Bosna's political and military leadership on Bosnian civilians, basically Bosnian Muslims, during the Croat-Bosniak War in April 1993.
What's wrong with ethnic cleansing? Everybody needs their ethnicity cleansed once in a while. Cleanliness next to godliness.
Yeah. Actually, by the way, the entire state of Croatia is now ethnically clean, and it didn't get that way peacefully.
By ethnic cleansing, you mean murder.
This happened in the 1990s.
Who was swept up here?
What happened?
I seriously do not know.
What happened in Croatia or what happened in Bosnia?
Well, what you said, the nation of Croatia is ethnically cleansed, and I don't know who got cleansed from what.
Basically, Serbs got cleansed out of Croatia.
I see. They were killed. Okay, got it.
All right, we're going to come back with more here. You're not done with this yet. This flashback to 1993.
Yep.
And what was it called, the war crime?
This one was the Amici massacre.
The Amici?
Amici.
More coming up here in moments. There's a good pizza place by the same name here in Keene. 855, 450 free. More on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm Steve Sidkowski, a former Wall Street insider. I'm holding a book that will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at 80, you need to read this free book. It includes the strategy I use to make a 72% profit on a trade where the stock only moved 12%. You'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-944-5836. Skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-944-5836. 1-800-944-5836.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realist, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Are you looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, do some Robin Hooding, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. This year's keynote speeches and panels will be announced via the Keenvention blog and Facebook, so stay tuned there for the latest. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this October 30th through November 1st. Tickets are available now at a special early bird price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. That $50 price only lasts through the end of June, so don't delay. Reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more and look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. We're talking about Liberland, and Dave Ridley has a few things to share. Plus, just been kind of digging around to see what the latest is on Liberland. It's an interesting plot to free one very small plot of land that ostensibly was not claimed by either Croatia or Serbia. And we're going to continue with that here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And have you or someone that you know been a victim of electronic pickpocketing? Well, if not, you might be wondering what electronic pickpocketing is. It's when thieves pass near you with a scanner, and that scanner can read the data on those RFID chips in probably your more recent credit and debit cards. The thieves can then use that information to charge your credit cards for the thieves' purchases and, worse yet, compromise your identity. Now, thanks to ID Stronghold, there's an easy way to prevent electronic pickpocketing from happening to you. ID Stronghold has been making products to block electronic pickpocketing since 2005. Some of their most loyal customers are military personnel that place a high value on personal security. And now you can also have that same protection in the form of great leather RFID blocking wallets made by ID Stronghold. That's right. All you need to do is switch your wallet for a quality leather wallet from ID Stronghold with built-in protection against electronic pickpocketing. Just visit idstronghold.com, and you can see their huge selection of his and hers wallets. That's idstronghold.com, and tell them Ian Freeman sent you. We're going to continue with Dave Ridley telling us about a horrible massacre in 1993 committed by the Croatian government at the time. Is that right, Dave?
Right, and I'm mentioning this in retaliation for the Croatian attack on Liberland's, some of Liberland's people. They arrested some Liberland
more than
people.
once.
I would go over Serbian atrocities if it had been the Serbian government that did this.
Right, but the Serbians are being a little more tolerant towards the Liberland folks. Apparently there's a camp right now. Mark, I think you've got bad information. The camp in this case is in Serbia. I do not believe they have set up a camp in Liberland yet.
Okay.
As I understand it, they are sort of staging outside of Liberland at a campground, or not a campground, but they've got some property in Serbia that they've turned into a camp, sort of like a base of operations, and they're throwing parties there. This coming weekend, they're going to have the 4th Liberland Weekend Party. Come join the fun to Liberland. It is very important to show that Liberland is not an empty forest. If you've got the time over the weekend, do it. It'll be starting on Friday at 6 p.m., where everyone will arrive at the meeting point near Karda Kod Karin in Serbia, where the base camp is set up. And it is free to camp there. And then on Saturday, the president will arrive by plane, and later they will go to the Liberland headquarters and base camp. And it doesn't really even say here that they're going to go into Liberland, but I presume that's part of the activities. It's just not listed on the actual itinerary here. So they're camping in Serbia and sort of venturing into to Liberland would be my guess.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that it's a pretty big deal for this. Like, I was highly skeptical of Liberland to begin with. I'm like, oh, okay. Now, remember, I run the Move Here project on Facebook. It's called, and what it is a list of historical liberty movements. I thought that this was a flash in the pan. For real. I thought it was a flash in the pan. But if they can get people who are excited enough to actually begin living on this island while claiming their own nationhood, and it is sort of the ownership of it isn't in dispute. It is undisputed that this is an unclaimed territory. So if you've got people in a territory claiming nationhood, and that is, from what all we can tell here, a real, a liberty-oriented nation, best we can tell, then that's a big deal as far as I'm concerned. This is by no means the smallest nation. I've got a list here from Wikipedia of countries and dependencies by area, and if you said 7 square kilometers. Is that correct?
Hold on to that list, Mark. We're going to get to it here. But Jesse's on the line in California. Jesse, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, hello.
Hey, you're
I'm
on here.
curious to think about something. Wouldn't we have the option of having a citizen's arrest done on anybody that stole our phone or, took away our civil rights in any situation like that? I've never had it happen with anyone I've known. I never tried it. But I know one time I had a guy riding on my bumper, and he was endangering my life. And the CHP officer did tell me that I could have him put under citizen's arrest, even if it took them a day or two to find them, as long as I had a license plate.
I don't even know what it means. I don't even know what citizen's arrest would entail. What are the details? How does one affect a citizen's arrest?
I suspect we will get to the point in New Hampshire where we are able to start doing that and doing it even to government officials, but we're years away from that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't have that uprising, where people, they're always afraid or intimidated about that.
I'd be afraid of catching kidnapping charges if I did a citizen's arrest on somebody.
I saw a lady attempt to do one at an abortion protest. I can't remember now which side she was on. She attempted to make a citizen's arrest of someone who was doing something at an abortion protest, but I don't remember how that played out. I don't think she was arrested for attempting the citizen's arrest.
Oh man, yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm just curious because every time something bumps me in the road with these people, you at least, even if it takes a while, maybe it can cost these jerks their job, and they'll boot the bad seeds, the bad apples out of the group. Hopefully, put enough pressure on them. But yeah, it could backfire. I understand what you're talking about. Next thing you know, hey, this guy said this and he said that. So you were crossing over a line. So
yeah, I'd like to know from an attorney or somebody who might be more familiar with this idea. I mean, you can go online, and I just Googled citizen's arrest, and there's some website here, wikihow.com, which makes claims that, sure, here's how you do it. But it says here that if you witness a crime taking place, it's not a good idea to make a citizen's arrest unless you actually saw a crime happening. When the police arrive, you'll have to provide probable cause for making the arrest. This means you'll have to show that you had a reasonable belief the person you arrested committed a crime. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
This guy taking your phone, huh? So that could be if you had any witnesses nearby that would hopefully stand up for you and say, hey, he took my phone. He was using physical force.
There were definitely witnesses nearby.
This is official oppression, is what this is.
Yeah.
I would call it minor. I don't like the term official oppression in this circumstance, but that's essentially what went on here. If Ian happened to be one of these open carry gun advocates, and he had drawn down on this dude and told him to get on the ground and gotten his camera back and held him till the police came, he likely would be dead today. The police would have erred on the side of the fireman here, the fire medic, and shot him down, and whatever video there was wouldn't have made the least bit bit of difference because there was a gun involved. It's like there's no winning in this circumstance.
You're pretty much just cornered. Yeah, I understand it. It's intimidated. It's psychological.
There are two recent videos I've seen. There are two recent videos I've seen on YouTube of open carriers drawing down on carjackers or other criminals and holding them as a citizen's arrest until the police arrive, and the police actually handling it appropriately.
So you've seen this happening?
I've seen open videos of it. Although I actually didn't watch the videos super closely, to do a Uber check for fraud. But that's I think those were both legit.
That's why I could never open carry, because I've heard that when you do that, some people, even law enforcement, have told me you have a right to carry a gun on your side, but you're going to be harassed every step of the way.
Especially in California.
Yeah.
Jesse, thanks for the call
Not in
tonight.
California. I think you can carry a long gun in California. This is not legal advice, but you certainly can't just carry a gun anywhere in California.
Thanks for the call, Jesse. Yeah, what I was saying was you're going to get harassed, whatever you're carrying in California.
Get here.
Openly. Yeah, if you love liberty, check out the Free State Project at freestateproject.org. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without a Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
We've all heard the news stories. Another shooting, and they're getting worse. That's why Infidel Body Armor introduces Infidel Fridays, exclusive 24-hour insider deals to save you money and possibly save your life. Make it a favorite when you log on to InfidelBodyArmor.com. Then be sure to visit each and every Infidel Friday to get special insider pricing, but for 24 hours only. That's InfidelBodyArmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Cato University is the Cato Institute's premier educational event of the year. It's being held this year from July the 26th to the 31st at the Cato Institute's state-of-the-art headquarters in Washington, D.C. This annual program brings together outstanding faculty and participants from across the country and often from around the globe, with everyone sharing a commitment to liberty and learning. Cato University is a genuine community, and you can freely share viewpoints, concerns, ideas, questions, and more in an atmosphere of friendship and personal respect. It's a one-of-a-kind program for people who don't stop thinking after they got out of school. It's for people who don't want politicians or bureaucrats or officials to do their thinking for them. It's for people who value liberty. You'll learn, you'll be inspired, you'll make new friends. You'll meet great people from around the world. All of the details are spelled out at the Cato website, cato.org, and they hope to see you there this summer, July the 26th through the 31st in Washington, D.C. Again, details are at cato.org.
This is Mark of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the economic engine that powers our country. With a printing press tethered to Washington bureaucrats and New York central bankers, how can we trust paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, or go to gold.freetalklive.com. Again, 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone. 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Federal authorities are currently on high alert in Washington, D.C., following reports that hundreds of crazed sociopaths infiltrated the congressional chambers this morning. Mary Canley, a Capitol employee who managed to escape the House chambers, described the troubling scene to reporters.
I saw all of them. About 400 to 500 completely deranged people just rambling on about guns, the military, and money.
Investigators say the lunatics, many of whom are believed to suffer from severe personality disorders, have locked themselves in the chambers for hours now, with no clear purpose or reasoning.
I looked at one of them right in the eyes, and it was like he was empty on the inside, devoid of any emotion or feeling. It was horrifying. It it's only a matter of time before they do something that really hurts someone.
We believe these men to be manipulative and extremely dangerous. Luckily, they are also very disorganized, and there is a chance they may never be able to ever take any action at all. For more on this developing story, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here and bring up anything you want. We're talking about Liberland, however. What is the latest on this interesting plan to create a new country between Croatia and Serbia in sort of a no man's land, where previously neither Croatia and Serbia had claimed this particular 3 square mile plot of land. We'll get more into that here in a moment. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And here on Free Talk Live, we love alternative currencies. And, of course, classic alternative currencies. Bitcoin's great, but the classics are gold and silver. And you can get gold and silver by going to silver.freetalklive.com or gold.freetalklive.com. We've teamed up with Midas Resources to offer you some special rates on hand-picked gold and silver pieces, including U.S. Eagles, British Sovereigns, Lakota Nation silver rounds, and more. There's always new inventory. Stock's always changing over at silver.freetalklive.com. So go and grab some of the world's most popular alternative currencies, gold and silver, whether you want them for an investment or a hedge against inflation or barter currency. They are beautiful silver and gold pieces, and at great prices. Go to silver.freetalklive.com, or maybe you'd prefer to call and talk to a human being. You can call them toll-free at 877-857-9938 or silver.freetalklive.com. That's 877-857-9938. So, Dave Ridley, you were bringing up some old history here from the Croatian government, a massacre that happened in 1993, and you're doing this in retaliation for the Croat government arresting members of Liberland, including the president of Liberland, for just simply trying to cross into the Liberlandian territory, where apparently the excuse by the Croatian government is, well, you're not allowed to leave this plot of land except where we say you can. So they have certain, exit points, border patrol checkpoints or whatever you want to call them, border checkpoints, that they allow people to come and go from. And obviously Liberland is not at one of those areas. So they are arresting people for a border violation, basically.
Yeah, I do want to make clear, primarily the Serbian militias and the Serbian government was the primary aggressors during the 90s wars. But since the Serbian government seems to be handling itself better, I'm bringing up these Croatian war crimes in the 90s to kind of get back at them for what they're doing to the Liberlanders.
Okay.
Again, I'm talking about the Amici massacre, which is just, I've randomly selected it. It's not the worst. Quote from Wikipedia, quote, on Friday, 16 April 1993 at 0530 hours, Croatian forces simultaneously attacked Vitez, Stari Vitez, Amici, Nadioci, many other towns. Unquote. There was a coordinated assault on Bosnian government forces when the Bosnian government had been bending over backwards for years to prevent a war and not get attacked like this. And this is the ultimate stab in the back. It was possibly the second worst thing that was done in the entire Bosnian War was these Croatian HVO backstabbers that just slaughtered with no warning.
Killing women and children.
Yeah, just started this war with people who, Bosnian Muslims were in the Croatian forces in large numbers. They were almost the same force. Some would almost call them the same people. And just one day, bang, killing. And,
why do you think they did
was
it?
Just one. The motivation was territory. It was partly sparked by the United Nations with their Vance Owen peace plan, which gave certain territories to Croatia. And the Croatian militias went in and started trying to seize those territories before the plan was signed. Does that make sense? Bosnia has three primary ethnic groups: Croats, Bosnians, Bosnian Muslims, and Serbs.
Okay, so they went into these towns, they slaughtered people.
Right, Amici, I'm trying to get more into the details of the actual massacre itself at Amici. let's see, Croat inhabitants of this.
So Amici was one
murders
of several towns.
They attacked. I mean, it was like the entire Croatian-dominated section of Bosnia fell into a state of warfare almost overnight. It was all planned. Murders of civilians. Overall, 117 to 120 Bosniaks, which means Bosnian Muslims, were killed in the massacre. Most of the men were shot at point-blank range. Some men had been rounded up and killed by Croatian soldiers. 20 or so civilians were also killed at Donja Amici as they tried to flee the village. Unquote. I don't need to go into too much detail. It's radio. It needs to be quick. But I just... Every time the Croatian government arrests another Liberlander, I'm going to bring up a new Croatian massacre from recent history, just to get back at them for messing with our friends.
So, I'm not friends with them, but they seem like people we could be friends with. I've never met anyone in Liberland, but RT has an interview with the president. This was released about 5 days ago, so I hadn't seen this until now. Again, I was looking to see, what's the latest on Liberland here. RT being Russia Today. Vit Jedlica claims to be the president of Liberland, tiny patch of land nestled between Croatia and Serbia. He told RT's In the Now that this that his would-be country doesn't need the huge bureaucracy of the EU. RT asks, "Tell us, why does the world need Liberland?" Jedlica says, "We really believe in tax havens because, more freedom brings more prosperity, and prosperity is good for everybody."
Yeah, I think that a lot of these governments are like, wait, what? What do you need a new country for? For God's sakes, we have plenty of countries. Come to our country. But what they don't understand is that, and they really do not understand this, is that the politicians and bureaucrats and people that populate these the machinations of these countries, they just treat everybody else like they're tax livestock.
Yep.
And when I say that, I think it just goes past people's heads. When you have livestock, you have it for a reason. Livestock produces something for you. The political class is either they're the masters that own the tax livestock, and that's you and me, the people who are in the productive class, or they're just parasites. Now, I'm not, parasites don't run the host the way that these people do. I think that they're far better akin to being compared to, animal husbanders, farmers, than anybody else. These people. I mean, if you have a dog, an animal that won't obey on your farm, you're just going to kill it. I mean, you're going to get it out of there. That's what they'll do to you. If you are not sufficiently obeisant to these people, they will kill you. There is only one crime, and that crime is disobedience. If they tell you what to do and you don't do that thing, they will ultimately kill you over it, because their rules are enforced with the point of a gun. It's not about kicking you out of their area. And by the way, people won't even acknowledge that these nations actually claim space. You're not a landowner. They're claiming both your body. They want to claim your soul if they could, your volition if they could do that. But they'll be happy with your body and your land. That's what they claim from you. Is that a parasite? I don't think it is. People call it a parasite class, but they're not a parasite class. They're the ruling class.
And there's nowhere we're allowed to go. We can't. If people say leave, I already did. I left Colorado and Texas. I'm in New Hampshire. It's the best I could do. There are no freer places, essentially, in some ways, maybe here or there. But there's no empty plot of land I'm allowed to go to and start a new government.
Right, they're all dominated by these people.
And here we find one, and they're arresting people for trying to go there.
Yep. So RT asks the president, "What made you want less government in your life?" And he says, "I really believe that government in many parts of the world is stepping on the happiness and prosperity of the people. Where would you like to live? In South Korea or North Korea? You choose. And I think there are many reasons why we should be concerned about our freedoms in Europe. The taxes are always rising. I tried to change that in the Czech Republic, and it didn't help much for 5 years. We have almost all the time more regulations. There are more than 100,000 pages made by the EU at the moment, so there's a real need to have a really free nation. We can see that there's also a great interest in it. There are over 330,000 people who have applied for citizenship, out of
330,000 people.
Out of which he says
that's half the population of the state of Vermont.
He says out of which of that 30,000 are totally serious about this. So they've been whittling down the number of applicants there at Liberland. Basically, they're wanting to pick the people who are the most serious, who really are, considering a move or whatever the other qualifications
people
are.
should move if they're
have
serious.
Money, so they have talents that they can bring to the table. 855-450 free. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
If worst comes to worst, will you be prepared? You don't have to be a survivalist to prepare for the unexpected. Storing necessary supplies like food, water, and emergency equipment is simply taking responsibility for ourselves and our families when it counts the most. StrategicShelters.com offers emergency supplies and a secure way to store them, and provides protection for loved ones in the event of an extreme natural or man-made disaster. To find out more, visit StrategicShelters.com.
Every summer we go to Canyon Woods. Love getting outside. Love the hiking. Hate the itching and irritation from poison ivy, bug bites, all the things that keep me inside. So I need something strong.
Cortisone 10 Intensive Healing is clinically proven with the strongest non-prescription itch medicine available for fast, long-lasting relief of itching and irritation with 7 moisturizers to help heal skin.
I finally have the relief I need.
Hey, Jan, check this out.
On my way.
Cortisone 10. Feel the heal.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Did you know some countries are now banning GMO foods? It's true. That's why for quality storable foods, you need ready-made resources. For over 19 years, we've become the name you can trust for thousands of products, like Numana Healthy Food Storage. All Numana storable foods are non-GMO, non-soy, and gluten-free available. Call 800-627-3809 or click ReadyMadeResources.com. Ready-Made Resources. We don't just sell the products, we live it.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com. Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here in the remaining moments. We've got enough time for you if you dial in now. You want to talk about Liberland, or you can bring up anything you want. 855-450-FREE. If you enjoy Free Talk Live, and you would like to support the show, well, I would like to invite you to do so by becoming an amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. You get access to perks like the AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only forums, the AMP-only podcast, and you get it all for $5 a month. And we'll take that $5 in and invest it into the show and hopefully get on more radio stations because that money goes into advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live, hence the name AMP. So go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can learn about the details there and get signed up with any major credit card through PayPal or use Visa or MasterCard right there on our site. It's amp.freetalklive.com. We've got an interview here with Vit Jedlicka. He's the president of Liberland. It was RT Television that performed this interview, and they're asking him some good questions here about next one. Let's talk about the legality of your claim. No other country has recognized Liberland. What makes the claim legal, first of all? And of course, you were arrested, I believe, earlier this month for trespassing in the territory, says RT. Jedlicka replies, it is absolutely legal to claim terra nullius, which is territory not annexed by any nation, under international law. And there are studies by universities which go deeply into the issue and clarify that this was and now is Liberland, this was and now is Liberland what used to be terra nullius there. And I tried to go to reach Liberland or to reach the cops that were operating in Liberland from both sides. And it is very funny. When we went from one side, we were arrested for trespassing from Croatia to Serbia, despite the fact that we had papers from the Serbian government which says this is not Serbia's territory. And when we tried to enter from Serbia's side, we were fined for crossing Serbia's territory. Okay, so I hadn't heard that story yet. I'd only heard they were arresting them crossing from Croatia, but apparently they're fining them in Serbia, which he says is quite funny. I'm wondering what the court at the next level is going to do about this. RT says, you've said that Europe will be better off without the EU. Why? Jedlicka says, I'm a big fan of the European Free Trade Agreement, and I'm actually going to visit the officials of the EFTA pretty soon on my way to Switzerland. There's going to be a vote on the recognition of Liberland in the near future, so I'm a big fan of this organization because it basically brings all that is needed regarding European integration. We just need to have the possibility to trade freely across nations. We don't need this huge bureaucratic body.
Okay, so do I need to bring up some Serbian war crimes too since the Serbians fined them?
Yeah, sure, if you've got one.
You're sure
handy.
that's what he said? They fined them? They weren't fined. They were fined?
He says we were fined for crossing Serbia's territory when we tried to enter from Serbian side.
Well, I don't even need to look up Serbian atrocities. That's all. I can do that from memory.
All right, give me a quickie.
I guess the primary one would have been, of course, the siege of Sarajevo, which everyone's heard about, but not so many people have heard about.
Hold on. I got to say that I don't know, being a 44-year-old, this is, to some extent, this stuff passed me by. I just, I wasn't that plugged in. I don't know that much that went on during this conflict. You were there, so for you, it was much more real.
Four-year-long siege, but the bigger atrocity was the one at Srebrenica, where they cleansed the entire population out. They killed all the men they could find. Some of them escaped into the hills. They surrounded the hills, told them they could come out, and then killed them.
God, it's disturbing.
So next question here from RT. Let's talk more about tax havens. You say we need more of them around the world. Isn't Liberland going to become a place for the world's richest to avoid paying their governments? What kind of people want to join your country? Jedlicka replies, rich people already don't pay any taxes, and they have the means how to get rid of them. The problem today is that the rich people are actually taking money from the governments. Just consider the Czech Republic. The finance minister was able to get money from EU subsidies to build his own ranch, his own private mansion, and it was 50 million Czech crowns, which is a lot of money. So the problem of today is completely the opposite. The rich people are taking money from the poor people through all these donations, subsidies, these projects that are made by the EU and also at national levels. It's a great answer. RT asks, I just want to clarify, how many people in fact signed up for citizenship? Jedlicka says, well, we've got 330,000 people who are registered for the citizenship. Some 34,000 fulfill all the criteria that we expect from a good citizen. Now, by the way, the Liberland website, if you were wondering, is liberland.org. And if you want to learn more about their citizenship, they do have information there about that. That's liberland.org. Final question from RT in this interview. And what are your plans for the country? So Jedlicka replies, well, first, we need to make sure that we make a deal with Croatia. And I have been working with the diplomats here. I've been talking to foreign ministry people with the deputy chairman of the foreign ministry, and he told me that our project has a chance to succeed if we are mainly about peace, love, and freedom. And I think, actually, that is exactly what we are about. So,
they can play the Croatian government off against the Serbian one. I wish that was working out better than it is. But, something to keep in mind about Croatian society is that it is much more PR conscious than Serbian society, in my experience. The reason that the Croats and the Bosnians only fought briefly was because of the fact that the American government put a little bit of pressure on, and the Croats quickly backed down and made peace with the Muslims, and they teamed up and then ended the war. But that's all I had.
Do you think this foreign minister is blowing smoke here, saying that you guys might have a chance to succeed?
I'm afraid that is another stereotypical Croatian trait, is to, everything's fine. And the knife is coming in from behind your back. I mean, I hate to say that. All Croatians have always treated me awesome. They're very nice to reporters. It's an instinctive thing.
But the government.
But the government's awful, and you're a little bit less likely to get maybe a super
honest.
I don't know. That's not the word I'm looking for. They may not be quite as direct with you as you might want.
Yeah. So what I'm asking myself is what would the benefit to this bureaucrat be to lie? Now, certainly there are, it's cultural and just human in some cases to attempt to deflect, right? Like I don't wish to answer your question, so I'll give you the answer that you would like to have so that I may walk away, right? Like there's that. And that's, very human, but it can be more cultural for some cultures. And I don't know anything about Croats, wouldn't propose to. But what is the benefit to this bureaucrat in telling somebody, or politician, or whatever he is, bureaucrat? He's the minister, so he's a high-level bureaucrat.
Yeah.
What's the benefit to him to giving false hope to these people for the creation of their nation?
I don't know, just a toy with them? There's no benefit. I guess you're right.
I think that...
Well, tourism. If the Croatians can get a lot of people coming through there, Croatia is an awesome tourist destination.
Is it?
And
that's why he should
really
want to this.
seriously get some tourist dollars out of Liberland.
Okay,
Right,
maybe he's being honest.
there.
I
Do you
was
think?
just asking.
Do you think Italy does good from? The benefit to this guy to lying, though, I don't think there is one. I'm thinking that what he's saying is true.
Okay.
Is if they continue to occupy this land and make
they're not
legal overtures, I don't know whether they are or not, but I sincerely hope they are, or they do soon, and then make international legal overtures that they are a nation, they will be successful over time.
We got to get the Free State Project to recognize them. It's not a country, but it's a step up from just a person,
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
something.
And, there's going to be
Free Talk Live officially recognizes Liberland.
Yeah, well, you know what? It would be interesting.
I recognize them.
I wonder if the Free State Project has reached out to them at all, because maybe they could invite President Jedlicka to the Porcupine Freedom
Jedlicka's
Festival.
an obvious speaker for Pork Fest.
Right.
I can't imagine he would not be here at some point.
Well, I hope that maybe it'll be a last-minute reveal or something. Maybe they're working on that behind the scenes. I don't know. That was just, it just crossed my mind right now. So
We need
can't guarantee
a sort of an alliance, I guess. I hate to say it because entangling alliances are dangerous, but we need all the friends we can get.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, there was at one time a European Free State Project that fizzled. It didn't really become anything more than a website.
But there's this hunger. People are just starving for a new place with a new system.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's huge popularity on this. That's why I'm saying this is the sort of the new European Free State Project, if you will, right?
Well, if we could just ban NASA and let us start running chemical rockets, as average people or companies could run chemical rockets instead of having NASA do most of it, then we could get to space. But they're not letting us into space, so we got to do something here.
I think this is the best idea for the European area because, it's difficult to immigrate to New Hampshire by the legal system. It's not an easy thing to do, but it might be a lot easier once people settle in Liberland to actually physically get there for people that live in Europe already. So it might be interesting to have the two competing movements, if you will, New Hampshire and Liberland, and they're not really competing too much with one another because it's hard to immigrate internationally. So
it'd be fun too. Hopefully, we'll start the ball rolling. But the more we try to help them, hopefully they'll start raising concerns about human rights in New Hampshire. That would be really nice to have public statements from a government or even just from the Liberland activists at this point because they have a bully pulpit.
I've just recognized Liberland on our Facebook page, so it's
Excellent.
official,
Now
Free
it's
Talk
real.
Live, along with tags and everything.
All right, Dave Ridley. Get more of him anytime at RidleyReport.com, and we will continue tomorrow night with more Free Talk Live. You can join us between now and then online at freetalklive.com. See you then.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
When I found the Free State Project, I knew it was the key to achieving liberty in my lifetime. It's awesome to be surrounded by like-minded, freedom-loving activists who've moved here to New Hampshire. From politics to civil disobedience, we have it all. Where I came from, it felt that no matter what I did, liberty was dying. Perhaps you feel the same way? Call 888-377-2515 now to learn more about the Free State Project. That's 888-377-2515 or visit freestateproject.org.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Cop Block Radio is up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2015. Silver is trading at $16.67 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,191 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $227. Antiwar.com reports U.S. officials are confirming last week's report of direct talks with the Yemen Shiite Houthi faction, saying the meetings in Oman were aimed at persuading the Houthis to participate in the Geneva Peace Conference. The U.S. has shown a surprising amount of interest in convincing the Houthis about the talks, courting Iranian help in recent meetings and also holding direct talks with the Houthis, but there is no indication that Saudi Arabia, whose war against Yemen the U.S. is backing, will participate anyhow, nor will the Riyadh-based government in exile, which has ruled out any participation in any talks with the Houthis unless the Shiites first agree to surrender several cities to them as a show of faith. The Houthis have always suggested that they were open to talks if the airstrikes ended. There has been speculation that the State Department was courting the Houthis about a handful of U.S. citizens held inside Yemen, a belief